Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
I don't think you can do that.
All right, welcome everybody to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on a Tuesday, along with G. Bush and Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull. Guys, we got a lot to get to today, but first to Mike for today's title sponsor.
What's up, guys? Today's show is brought to you by Epicor. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global visions, Epicor will equip you with the right tools to move forward. Discover your success at easierwithepicor.com.
Browns might be bringing back 2 receivers, including one quitter and one guy nobody wants that they're going to pay $3.5 million to. Potentially, that's all coming up later.
Don't do that.
Did I say anything incorrect?
Yeah, don't disrespect the 8 ball like that.
8 ball?
That's his
new
Nickname?
He's recreating himself. Branding.
I have not given up on the Elijah Moore trade.
Well, everybody else has, except for the Browns, who somehow just managed to guarantee him $3.5 million with some rule nobody else existed, although it's not. He's not definitely on the Browns yet. We'll get to that later. We'll get to the Guardians later. Plenty of talk about the Browns, and Tyvis hasn't been here for draft talk yet. How was your draft weekend there, Tyvis? Anything interesting happened?
Obviously, Thursday I was at the Browns facility. It was fun being in the know, seeing things before it happened, seeing the coaches, the scouts go in, seeing the coaches' reactions when they walked out. You can read into it how you want. Getting the chance to talk to AB and, try to figure out, pick his brain on what he was thinking on some of the trades and stuff. That was actually pretty cool. Friday and Saturday, I was in Columbus, just watched it locally. At that point, it was about what the Browns did and where the Buckeyes was going. And for me, I didn't spend a ton of time watching it. Like when Shedeur got drafted, I was driving back home and my wife texted me like, Shedeur got drafted. I'm like, it's crazy because my wife could care less about the draft.
She was locked in.
But she said she seen that and instantly just texted me instantly like Shedeur got drafted type thing. So he had a lot of buzz, and I think the ratings was through the roof because everybody actually turned out to be a great story for the NFL because people was locked in just to see where this kid was going to go. So it was a pretty cool experience though.
I already told
you. Had 14 Buckeyes got drafted, tied the school record for most Buckeyes in the draft. It would have been 15, but Seth McLaughlin tore his Achilles at the end of the season last year. He ends up going undrafted to Cincinnati, but he won the Remington Award. So
he's a center, right?
Yeah, he was a center.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
They said, I was talking to one of the Cincinnati Bengals Sports Illustrated writers yesterday on the radio, and he was saying
James Rapine?
I think that might be who it is.
I worked in Cleveland.
I'm not 100% sure. That sounds familiar.
Shout out to the old school.
Anyways,
fellas.
Yeah.
He was saying that he thinks Seth will probably play guard because they got a center.
Yeah, I mean they don't have one startable guard. They drafted a kid out of Georgia. In
he'll redshirt this year because Achilles is.
So you saying he would have been drafted had he not?
Yeah,
so it's a good pick then.
Yeah, Dane Brugler had him as like a second or third round pick.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So he could end up being their starter in 26.
Probably.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Listen, Shedeur, we asked before the season started, or before he got drafted, is he going to be the most popular Cleveland Brown?
I was just asking you guys before the show.
That is confirmed.
Is he more popular than Joe Flacco? Who's more popular, Shedeur or Flacco?
Right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Joe Flacco's popular in Cleveland. Shedeur is popular
No,
worldwide.
I meant in Cleveland. I just meant in Cleveland.
In Cleveland?
Yeah.
Shedeur right now.
I mean, he's the most popular dude on the team.
It's the most. I mean, he's the biggest.
Listen,
guy got drafted in the 5th round. He's the biggest story of the draft.
You want to know what's crazy?
Yeah.
So they signed Joe Flacco, right?
Yeah.
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
They draft Shedeur. You got Michael Woods on Twitter. You got Denzel Ward on Twitter.
Yeah.
You got David Njoku on Instagram.
Oh, none of the players said anything when they signed Flacco?
I didn't see it.
I don't think none of the players signed.
Did y'all see? Maybe I'm wrong because I didn't see it.
Dillon Gabriel didn't get a phone call.
Or Dillon Gabriel.
Like messed up, dog. Like,
He's a good player. He's actually a really good guy.
If you want to know the popularity, like his part, is this true? Did somebody gift him $1 million?
Yes.
What?
So what happened was,
show you this.
it was a report that came out yesterday that was talking about he had this party and somebody gifted him $100,000.
Black folks is
And
amazing.
Deion Sanders Jr. seen the tweet, retweeted it, and said, if you're going to quote it, make sure you say it correctly. It was $1 million.
Wait, I'm confused.
They gifted him.
Who got $1 million?
Shedeur.
For what?
Somebody
pulled up.
Somebody
and
just gave $1 million.
threw him a
No
million.
reason.
Like, listen, they was playing with my boy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's
I'ma
not like
go-
I guess it's not his money.
I'm about to
but-
go pull it up for you.
That's
Give me
how
a second.
Do you know how many rappers, celebrity, like there was like players. Dak Prescott was there.
Yeah.
Like all these people is here. Like when people's laughing.
Here you go. I got it for you.
Okay.
Dave Kleiman. I know how you feel about him.
Who? I don't even know who that
I mean, Dove.
Oh, don't read that. Don't read that.
I got to
Yeah.
for this. Shedeur Sanders threw a massive party to celebrate being drafted by the Browns. Sanders performed his hit rap songs and flexed over $100,000 in cash during the event. So many celebrities were in attendance as well. Cleveland drafted a superstar. Deion Sanders Jr. retweeted it and said, "Let's tell the correct story now, ... It was actually a gift that he received, ... And it was $1 million."
All right. What do you guys think of this? I don't love the idea of like. Let me make it very clear, because as soon as I say this,
You gonna sound
Don't
real
you hater.
We're going to give the Shedeur Sanders attention outside noise conversation
All right.
a little bit. Would you rather save your thoughts on that? Because I think it's going to mesh into what
all
we're
right, we'll
talking
talk about it later. You killed my momentum anyway.
Hey, look, he added. He was gonna,
Go ahead.
He's
Well,
gonna
you
drop
started,
the
then you
anvil.
stopped. So I just want to make sure, because it is
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it because I'm in the. I think when people are comparing him to Johnny Manziel, it's completely unfair. Johnny Manziel was a bum. He had all kinds of issues, and he just wasn't that good at football, and he was not interested in working hard or doing any of that stuff.
I mean, he threw it up
But
to Mike Evans.
initially, I didn't like all the partying that Johnny was, and everybody was like, Johnny's partying, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying it's going to turn out the same way, because, again, I think it's an unfair comparison. But I'm fine that it's good that he had a party, do whatever you want. Now he needs to focus on football. If he really wants to be the starting quarterback, it's got to be all about football. No?
Well, he was in downtown Cleveland working out
I know.
right now.
In fact, I said that because I heard that rumor from somebody on our chat group.
Now,
And
listen, it was, to me, honestly,
Yeah.
posted on his Instagram.
I
It's
hear
officially official.
I hear
Okay.
what you're saying about the partying.
Yeah.
But his party was no different than all
I
the
agree.
other guys.
I'm saying going forward.
Now going forward, yes,
that's all I'm saying.
Yes, because he got a big shoes to fill. I mean, listen, everybody's gonna look at your Deion Sanders
Yeah.
son,
Right.
Like it's like Bronny. I need
yeah.
to see what you gonna do, and you gonna have unnecessary attention on you the whole time. So he has to carry himself correctly.
I think we all want Shedeur, and I know I do, because I want the Browns to finally have a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I want him to shut up the haters and doubters. And I'm not a hater or doubter in any way. And to do that, I think he's got to be all about football going forward now.
I think him going in the 5th round is the best thing that happened for his career.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because whether he felt it or not, I think the way he carried himself was he was up here, and that they just boom and shot him back down to reality.
Yeah.
And it was like me, like coming into the draft, I was like, oh, I'm going 3rd or 5th round. When I went undrafted, it lit something inside of me because it's like, now I got to prove y'all wrong. Like, I got to really fight every day. And when you're a 5th round draft pick, there's no guarantee. They get cut all the time. So now he has to prove and fight every single day. It can't be I'm late to meetings or I can't not know the assignments and stuff. Like, he got to be extra locked in because they don't owe you anything. Like, they can get rid of you and just move on. Right. So it actually might be better for his career.
Let me say one last thing, Mike. I promise we'll move on, and we'll get back to Shedeur later. I understand this is going to remain a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. And I'm just going to say this because we discuss things on this show that other shows don't, and I keep it real, okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For young black men in sports, I feel weird saying this because you've actually had this experience and I don't. But I am someone that understands from the outside that by the general population, there is an unfair double standard when it comes to judging the behavior of young athletes, black kids versus white kids. Not in all cases, and not by every person, of course. I'm not saying everybody's a racist. I'm not saying a lot of people are racist.
Especially a black quarterback.
But these things are there. From some people, the judgment is not even overtly racist. It's just what you're kind of used to. And so you have expectations. And people come from different backgrounds and different cultures. And so that's going to lead to, well, why is he doing this? Or I'm not even talking about Shedeur, anybody, or whatever. I'm not used to that. I know kids that behave this way or whatever. And I really do. I want Shedeur Sanders to succeed. There's a lot of people with hate in their heart who are rooting against this guy. They're happy he got drafted in the 5th round. They're happy the guy from Jeff Ulbricht's son humiliated him. They like it. Mm-hmm. They like all that stuff. And I'm not one of those people. And I don't want to give those bastards any ammunition against him. And the way for him to win is to shut them all up. So he's got to be himself. I get that. Mm-hmm. I get that. But he's only to succeed in the NFL, he's got to be completely locked in. And I hope you're right, and I think you're right, that this experience of what happened to him will help motivate him even more than he was motivated already. What? I think it's certainly a lot of the off-the-field stuff has been overblown. It's turned into he's a distraction. I don't think he's a distraction. Yes, he gets more coverage than the typical player. Those things are a distraction. Some of it's because of his personality and his dad. Some of it's just because who they are. Wouldn't matter, even if they had a more chilled personality.
The distraction part. Wait a minute, is this a topic?
No,
go ahead.
I keep promising Mike we're going to move on.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry,
I'm
Mike.
chilling. You see how I just said, we chilling.
I just want to, I get it. There's real life issues here.
Go ahead. We got to talk about the Cavs.
But anyway, we will move on. We'll get back to it later.
We're going to get to that whole thing. Like, we're going to get to that.
But sorry.
The Cavs just swept a first-round playoff series, and we got to give them the attention and the respect they deserve for doing something we have never seen in the history of the NBA before. So we're going to start with that, guys. The NBA playoffs are in action. The second round starts up this weekend, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. So the sweep is complete. The Cavs beat the Miami Heat last night by 53 points. If you took out every 2-point field goal the Cavs made last night and just counted their threes and their free throws, they still would have beat Miami by 5 points. It was the largest point differential in a 4-game sweep in the history of the NBA, and they did it without Darius Garland in the final 2 games. G. Bush, you were so patient and quiet in the back and forth beforehand.
Yes.
And we'll do the whole Darius Garland conversation, which is stupid another day. But the Cavs put belt to ass in the games 3 and 4 in Miami. What do you make of such a dominating performance from the Cavs to close out Miami real quick?
I took away
BTA.
I took away a lot more than a lot of other people did. Because, there's this thing now that we do where we say nothing in the regular season matters except for the playoffs. Cavs come out here and smoke these suckers in the playoffs, and it doesn't matter because they're not very good. They're a playing team. Stop moving these goalposts right now.
I respect that.
Listen, I'm tired of that, bro. They putting 55. They doing stuff that your favorite teams didn't do. Jordan's Bulls wasn't put 59 on nobody. And look, they're not going to get anointed as Jordan's Bulls or LeBron's Cavs or Steph's Golden State Warriors. But right now, I got to reward the mentality. They came in there. They said it don't matter. Not only did not matter, they came in there and said we're not even playing Darius Garland. They let him talk trash to Tyler Hero. Nah. You don't play any defense and you can't shoot. And then they will let the dogs go out on him and now go score 100. Now, go score on the new lockdown defender is Sam Merrill. I don't know how he became lockdown.
Right.
He must have been spending.
They put him in the start lineup. He had to step his game.
They just spent them VCs on that defender badge. That cat's moving his feet now. He's physical. Listen. You watch all of those dudes, and let's talk about this. Last year, we talked about how Jared Allen, the lights is too bright. Last year, he got injured. We was talking about, we was trying to get him up out the sticks. Jared Allen has now become Jared Jordan.
Almost had a triple-double with steals.
Come fly with me, Afro Thunder. He's in the passing lane.
Did you see that?
He's in the passing lane.
I couldn't believe he got the
He almost
steal.
played a perfect game last night.
Long
5 from the field, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, a double-double, and you mentioned 4 steals away from a triple-double. He was spectacular last night.
When your center, when your 5-man who don't get touches comes out and sets the tone, like, listen, not only think about how rare this is. Miami Heat are a very proud organization. Eric Spoelstra, you know what Pat Riley brings to the table, and they was talking a good game too. We ain't going out like that.
They did.
We're gonna ride until the wheels fall off until you got to that game 3, and they not only put 40 on you, they try to beat you by 60. If you can't see that the Cavs is focused from this, does that mean they can come out here and do that and lay egg against Indianapolis? No. Or that's going to mean that we're going to beat Boston? No. But what we got to start doing is understanding what point in time you're in and start giving these congratulations and learning how to be winners. See, winners, it's okay to say, yeah, we smashed y'all. Let me go ahead and get my little lap off right quick, take my little time off and do my thing, and we're going to get our legs healthy and watch these other cats play. That's the best feeling in the world when you go to AAU tournaments. Yeah, we already in the championship game. We're gonna see what y'all do. Mm-hmm. Sit back in the crowd. This is a great feeling. It's great to be back in that catbird seat where you know you got a damn good basketball team. And people need to stop downplaying stuff because this is what you start to build on. You don't think DeAndre Hunter got some a little bit of confidence? He's shooting the ball better. Sam Merrill say, I've heard my name in the starting lineup. Ty Jerome already thought he was him. So all these guys is getting that momentum. You saw the bigger lineups. You got to see Wade and Hunter together. I like it. We ready to get locked in, get some of that ice tubs, get you some treatment, and let's get ready for these doggone Indiana Pacers.
Whoa! First of all, pump your brakes. It's not over until it's over.
Is Dame officially? What?
Yeah, he tore his Achilles.
So he did tear his Achilles.
That's out of here.
First of all, you go pump.
Playing
your
tonight,
brakes.
Game 5.
Pump your brakes. It ain't over. I see the Cavs come back 3-1. So just saying. No, yesterday's game. The funny part is it got boring. I got bored with it. Like they was beating them so bad that I stopped watching it after a certain point because it was done. Now, what I will say is I did appreciate the fact that they came out with this attitude, like you could tell from the beginning of the game, we ain't going 5 games. We ending this tonight. And everybody was locked into that message and everybody contributed in the way that they did. I think you're absolutely right with Jared Allen. I mean, when he was getting these steals, I was looking like, dude, because when he got one of them, I didn't know it was him. I thought it was somebody else. He like stole it, brought it up the court, threw a dime. I was like, who is this?
And had the nerve to jump from the dot.
So yeah, everybody was locked in, and it's so funny because we were talking about, I think Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter, like we want to stay coming off the bench together because it blew my mind a little bit that Ty Jerome wouldn't be in the starting lineup in game 3 or game 4. I'm like, Darius is out. He's the obvious choice to be the guy to start. But when you see how well he's played off the bench and that chemistry that they got, I think the Cavs realize, like, it's something special with these 2 guys coming off the bench, so we're not going to touch it.
Don't mess with it,
Out to the Celtics. I don't know what we're going to do with the Celtics. That's another story for another day. The most impressive thing, though, was that Tyler Hero is supposed to be the star of the Heat. This man had 4 points in the game. Like, that's insane to me. Like, the Cavaliers right now, they remind me of, you remember when Golden State was playing, I can't remember if it was 2015 or 2016, but it was a point in time where Golden State, when they got to the 3rd quarter, they would blow everybody out the water. They'd go up by like 20 points. The Cavaliers is like that now, where it's like, you got to, when they start hitting them threes, it's so overwhelming that some teams just pack it in like we can't do nothing with it. The Heat, they did a good job in game 2 trying to come back, but for the most part, it really ain't a fluke. Like the Cavs at some point of that game, whoever they play, whenever they play, is going to be a Cavalinch And if you don't stop it, if you don't have nothing to come back from it, like you will get blown out the waters.
I think it's the Cavaliers.
Excuse me.
The Cavaliers is
Travis pulled the mic instead of Cavaliers.
Cavaliers.
By the way, the Cavs won by 55.
It's
Mike. You guys got 53 on the ticker there. They won by 55.
Let them get their money on.
Short.
53. Is my math wrong? It very well could be
Yes.
wrong.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. It was 138.
Yeah, it is. It's 55. Good call.
55.
Bad job.
What
Not
happened
bad
there?
luck.
So, a couple things. G, you make a good point about, like, don't move the goalpost now that they want, because we've been saying all season, I've been one of the biggest advocates. Don't care, don't care, don't care. Show me in the playoffs. Now, I'll tell you this. When the playoffs started, I think either we had this conversation or I'm imagining we had this conversation, but I believe we discussed briefly at one point, is anything they could do against the Heat going to increase your thoughts about how they can be and how likely they are to win? Didn't we have that conversation?
Yeah, we did it on the topic
right
before the series started.
And I think I said no, but I have changed my mind, and here's why.
Flip-flop.
Because, because first of all, I didn't like the way they played Game 2. I didn't like that they blew that big lead. I know they didn't actually blow it, but. Yeah. I didn't like that. And I was like, is this a sign that when they play better teams, blah, blah, blah. And Donovan wasn't shooting particularly well earlier in the series. But they lose Darius Garland. And, again, people are going to make whatever arguments they want. I think you're crazy if you think they're better without Darius Garland.
Don't listen to G. Bush.
So they lose Darius Garland. At worst, their third best player, right? And they took what they learned from Game 2. I think they were embarrassed that they blew that big lead. They're like, this team has no business competing with us. We let them get in it. No effing around here. And they went to Miami. And, yes, Miami's not a very good team. Is there something wrong, Mike?
No, there's a water bottle on the table that shouldn't be there. I'm going to go grab it in a second.
All right.
No, not that one. It's
the one in front.
Yeah,
so they went to Miami. And as much as I'm like, Miami's not very good, which is true, what we know about Miami is, what does everybody say? They're well coached. They always play hard. Even down the stretch of the season when they were losing game after game, everything was close. The Cavs went to Miami and ripped their soul out of their throat. They did. Stepped on it, broke it in half, and flushed it down the toilet. They destroyed. In the past, sorry, Travis, but I just want to say this one last thing. In the past, that little incident between Darius and Tyler Hero, I feel like that would have gone the wrong way for the Cavs.
Right.
Like, that would have led to the Heat embarrassing them. And instead, even though Darius didn't play, the team backed up what Darius said. And they humiliated Tyler Hero, one of my least favorite NBA players. So I love that even more.
You hate Tyler Hero?
I hate him.
Why?
Hate him.
He doesn't like white basketball players.
I don't like American white basketball players.
Is he a white? Is it because he's a
and
white?
People can't get mad at me because I'm white.
Is it because he's a white basketball player that tries to be black?
No, I don't know. I like some white basketball players.
He's just a little. You know how you get a guy that's good. I guess this is what they probably say about Shedeur Sanders, right? a guy that's good, but he ain't that good. And it'd be like, man, Tyler Hero, you are a great shooter, but that's where it stops.
I had some.
They moved up Jimmy Butler for him.
I think it's some scarring from when I was like in high school, and there were a couple kids I knew that were like, I'll just say they were like white basketball players, and they rubbed me the wrong way, and I've never gotten over it. So
that's except for Chris Mullin.
I love Chris Mullin. Don't mess with Chris Mullin.
So when you see Tyler,
I don't hate white basketball players. I'm joking around, but I don't like Tyler Hero. Some guys just rub me the wrong way. He's one of them. He comes off like a punk. I don't like him. I don't like
he would trade Dante DiVincenzo for Tyler Hero. Those are the exact opposites.
I'd take Dante.
I like Dante.
Yes. You guys are smoking crack.
I tell you.
But I'm just saying. But he's the same.
over here.
But we like DiVincenzo, and he has some shot making ability. Right. He's not as good as Tyler Hero.
I will say though, one thing that
I like all the Cavs white guys.
Yeah, I like them too.
One small thing that I did see in Game 3.
Yeah.
That I give Kenny a lot of credit for is remember in Game 2 they went on that long run without scoring. In Game 3, there was a point where the Heat started heating up. It was early in the game,
very early.
And he called the timeout, and I was like, okay. And then it reset, and then the Cavs came back and started rolling. It was crazy because I was like, man, this dude did learn something in just one game.
Well, think about that. The Heat, I think, started the game 15-5.
In Game 3, yes.
Right. I think from that point until the end of last night, the Cavs outscored them by like 100.
Yeah, Ty Jerome, when that second unit came in Game 3, they immediately went on a 20-0 run.
Yeah,
and
that was it.
Never got close again.
They've just completely destroyed them. And while I'm not going to say, oh, now I think they're definitely going to be the Celtics, of course I'm not going to say that. If they play the Celtics, which I think we all anticipate, I think it's going to be a great series. But I do have more confidence today than I did after Game 2. I have more.
I have more confidence today seeing the way that the Orlando Magic is playing the Celtics.
They beating them down, ain't they?
Because
physical.
If they could just score, Orlando in the opportune times when you need a bucket or you need a stop.
Yeah.
They just being young dudes. They ain't being able to get it. But in
they were feisty against us last year.
Yeah,
so.
But in terms of the physicality. In terms of what they've been showing on the court,
Apollo like 30 a game.
Man, this dude Jaylen Brown, knee hurt.
Yeah,
he complaining, talking about, oh my goodness, this is not regular basketball. Jason Tatum's wrist is hurting. I think the Cavs is a lot more fresh. I think they defensive prowess is really looking good right now. And of course, the Celtics are the Celtics, but I got more confidence that the Cavs can do what they can do.
Mike, let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
I know neither of these series are completely set yet, but it appears it's going to be the Knicks and the Pacers moving on.
Hey.
Yeah,
it appears, Tyvus. It's not over yet.
It's a wrap.
I don't know that the Knicks are really any better than the Pacers or not much better than the Pacers.
I think the Pacers are better than the Knicks.
Okay, but the Knicks are more physical, aren't they? No?
Who you?
Detroit is giving them
who you get?
I think they're both relatively physical.
All right, fair enough.
They present different challenges to each different team.
Would you say it's a bigger jump up in class that the Cavs are going from the Heat to the Pacers than it will be from the Pacers to the Celtics? What's a bigger jump?
The bigger jump is Heat to Indiana.
Right, that's what I thought.
Miami, and listen, no disrespect to Miami.
You're about to disrespect them.
I am. Yeah. They won 37 games in the regular season and traded away their best player mid-season.
Yes.
I said after games, I said before the series, they didn't have the firepower to keep up with Cleveland. In games 1 and 2 in Cleveland, they made a ton of tough twos. Davion Mitchell made a ton of tough shots, which, by the way, he ain't a shot maker. That dude's in there for his defense. He made a ton of tough shots. Hayward Highsmith in Game 2. G came in the next day and said, who the hell's this guy?
Yeah.
He made some tough shots.
That was me.
In Games 3 and 4.
That was you.
Combined, or it was Tyvus who said that. In Games 3 and 4 combined, Cleveland held Miami to 85 points a game, 87 and 83.
Yeah.
They stopped making some of these incredibly tough twos late in the shot clock that bailed them out and made games 1 and 2 actually feel closer than they really ever should have.
Yes.
In games 3 and 4, when they stopped making those shots,
that's right. That was
it's demoralizing. You don't play defense nearly as well when you're not making shots, or you don't put the same effort in when you're not making shots. And Cleveland couldn't miss, and that's why we get 2 literally historic level blowouts. 55 points, the biggest series clinching win in the history of the league, guys.
Right.
And it was never close. And even though Game 2 looked close for a split-second bowl, Cleveland was never worried.
I never felt like they were going to lose.
Never.
No. By the way, can we, this offseason, I know this is not realistic, but I'd like to get rid of Isaac Okoro and bring on Davion Mitchell. Can we do that?
Davion Mitchell made himself some money.
I say he about to get paid.
Is he a free agent?
Davion Mitchell, let me look it up.
Wouldn't he be a great replacement? Like, have him instead of Okoro?
I take it.
That guy's a pain in the ass. You need that.
He hit some tough threes.
He's a restricted free agent this summer. So
I know the Cavs can't sign anybody, right?
I would not anticipate him coming.
Are you willing to give up Ty Jerome?
No.
All right.
Yeah, so that you'd have to.
I'm being crazy. I'd love him to be on the Cavs instead of Isaac.
So to recap, Cavs with a dominating performance. They have swept the Miami Heat. Belt to ass is the perfect way to describe what we witnessed over the last 2 games.
Yep.
And now they wait. And Game 1 in their next series, whether it's Indiana, which is looking likely, or Milwaukee, Tyvus, in case Giannis pulls something out of his back pocket, will start, according to NBA release, either Saturday or Sunday, or Monday, Tuesday, depending on what they decide. So no clarity.
By the way,
the next series will start.
I think something they should do in the NBA, which they do in the NFL, I don't know why they haven't done this.
The reseeding?
They should. In this case, it's probably not going to matter. But, like, for example, if Detroit beat the Knicks, the Cavs should play Detroit in the next round because Detroit's the lowest seeded team. They do that in the NFL. I don't know why they don't do that in the NBA, Mike.
In the West, it'd be interesting because right now, 7-seeded Golden State has a 3-1 lead over 2nd seed Houston. 6-seeded Minnesota has a 3-1 lead over.
Isn't that wild?
The Lakers.
The Lakers about to get eliminated. Anybody think they can come back and win 3 in a row?
I mean, LeBron's done it before, but I mean, Anthony Edwards, boy.
Problem with the Lakers is
That boy showing he ain't messing around.
By the way, I picked the Warriors, Mike. Didn't you pick the Rockets?
I did pick the Rockets.
Look at that. If
Anthony.
Tyvus is Mr. Baseball, I'm now Mr. NBA.
With that, we have to move on because I can't do a basketball conversation where both things is just the NBA. Guys, we mentioned it earlier, but today's episode is brought to us by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build and practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the All-Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices, from small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global visions. We'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most out of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier finds the lane. Discover your success today at www.easierwithepicor.com. That is easierwithepicor.com. The Browns have 4 quarterbacks that are currently healthy enough to compete for the starting job. There's 5 if you want to include Deshaun Watson, but for the sake of this, we are going with the 4 quarterbacks healthy enough to compete to be QB1 in Week 1. And the odds for the Browns Week 1 starter have officially been released. And if you want to take this graphic full here, Kenny Pickett, the early favorite. This will change 100 times before the actual kickoff of Week 1. But Kenny Pickett is the early favorite to be the Browns' Week 1 starter. That's at plus 120. Shedeur Sanders, their 5th-round pick, second best odds, plus 225. Joe Flacco, the free agent they brought in this summer, who led them to the playoffs in 2023, is listed at plus 300. And Dillon Gabriel, their 3rd-round pick, is listed at plus 650. But what do you make of these odds?
Where did these odds come from? That's what I need to know.
Let's talk about the bizarre. Before we even talk about who we think, let's talk about how bizarre these odds are.
Yes.
First of all,
why is Shedeur
the guy of those 4 people, the guy you spent the most draft capital on, a 3rd-round pick, is the last ranked guy on the list.
Makes no sense.
Last. You drafted, you gave up a 5th-round pick for Kenny Pickett, a 5th-round pick for Shedeur Sanders, and Joe Flacco's a free agent at 40 years old. And the guy you drafted in the 3rd round is the last odds.
Who cares?
Number 2, why is Kenny Pickett number 1?
I did not make these.
Why is Shedeur number 2? That's what. How is it not Joe? In worst case scenario, how is it not Joe?
I don't understand this. I've been asking people. It started with Jason Lloyd.
Yeah.
Then Mary Kay. Then
Aditi.
Yeah.
Then Jeff Phelps. And then Andy Baskey. And then I'm looking around and everybody's like, yeah, it's probably, Kenny Pickett. Tell me one thing. I'm honest. Tell me one thing that you saw from Kenny Pickett while he was a Pittsburgh Steeler or while he was a backup in Philadelphia that says that he is the prohibitive favor as a starter.
I guess if you want to purposely lose, maybe he'd be the prohibitive favorite.
What's that stat about him? 4th quarter comebacks and game winners.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad you corrected people. You corrected Jay yesterday. Who did you correct? They talk about he doesn't throw interceptions.
Oh, Jason.
No, yes he does.
He has 1 more touchdown than Pick in his career.
I'm like, man, you guys can't just throw that out there quick and keep it pushing.
What about that stat?
What?
He was like top in 4th quarter comebacks and stuff.
Man, listen.
He did.
Hey, listen. Hey, salute to him. And
we need finishers.
Now it's finishers. No, we need starters.
Here's why I think he's the favorite. Guys.
Why?
Even though I would not pick him as the favorite, and certainly if I were betting. If you ask me who am I going to bet on, I'm betting on Joe Flacco. Now, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know what the Browns are thinking.
Go throw a 10 down.
Again, by the way, folks, Joe Flacco is going to be on my podcast. Was originally scheduled for today. Tomorrow. He'll be on with me tomorrow morning.
Ask that man how he feel about the competition.
I am 100% going to ask him about that. So
Ask him to come on UCSS, too.
Yeah.
How you going to poach you? He just poached your guest right in front of you.
Yeah.
That's poaching.
No, don't be poaching, Mike. I'll try to. I didn't personally get him on. Somebody got him on for me.
He came on the show already.
So I guess maybe somebody knows something that maybe the Browns are going to decide to move on for Joe Flacco. I don't know. The argument, they got Kenny Pickett before Joe Flacco. I don't know if that holds any water. But this is crazy to me. Kenny Pickett when I saw, did anybody see any? Aditi did. And I love her. I just don't see what she saw. Every time I watch this guy play, I'm like, he stinks.
I'm like, man. Like, I watched him when Nick Chubb went out of the game. They tried to get that game away.
Yeah, I know.
He lost the DTR.
I think it's because Sam Darnold.
That's it.
Last year.
That's it,
It's the Sam Darnold effect.
Well, that's what Aditi kept saying.
And by the way,
she kept
stop.
saying
Everybody's doing this and it's driving me crazy. Stop putting Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff in the same category as Sam Darnold. That is, Jared Goff had a level of success.
He was in the Super Bowl.
Baker Mayfield, let's not, as much as you and I maybe didn't love him.
Didn't he break the rookie pass?
He still had a level of success in Cleveland.
Yes.
He wasn't a scrub here.
Yes.
We decided he wasn't good enough. I think a lot of people thought he wasn't good enough. Obviously, he's been a lot better than Tampa. But nobody's going to deny that he had some level of success. It wasn't, Sam Darnold went to the Jets and did nothing. He was completely terrible.
Yeah.
That's a bad example. You want to put Geno Smith in the Sam Darnold category? Okay, I can live with that. But here's the truth. What has Geno done in the playoffs?
Zip 0.
What did Sam Darnold do in the playoffs?
Has he been to the playoffs,
Geno? I think so.
With the Seahawks?
I'll look it up. I think he has.
Sam Darnold looked lost in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Completely
Down the stretch.
lost.
Now, maybe Sam Darnold will be like Kirk Cousins. He'll play well in the regular season and keep you competitive. I don't know. He's going to the Seahawks now. We'll see what changes.
Geno's played in one playoff game. Lost it.
Yeah.
Was it to San Fran?
It was in 22. Yeah, to San Fran.
Yeah. So, okay, for every Geno and Sam Darnold, I could give you 20 other guys who stunk and then just continued to stink. So, if you think Kenny Pickett's going to be good, I guess it's possible. I just don't see it.
We talked about it when we came in. I said, look, if you guys are, and a lot of people are, and I'll give it to them, if you guys are hell-bent on talking about whether, you got Arch Manning or next draft class is better,
Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, the top quarterbacks.
All the next year guys.
Next
year. See, here's the thing. This is why you don't going to be watching no tape, Tyvis. Because they had to wait till the way too early mock draft came out so they can name and identify who's better next year. I used to ask them on the spot, next year's class is better. Which one you want?
Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, Carson Beck.
There you go.
It's like 5 names.
Yeah, but if you look at like Dane Brugler's mock draft.
He had 5 quarterbacks for the 2026 mock, including 3 going in the
No, but if you look at his first mock draft a year ago for this year,
none of those guys are in.
He had guys, and that's not a knock at him. I'm sure everybody did.
Carson Beck, nowhere to be found.
He had all these guys be in the first round, and guys didn't.
Blew it.
So there's no way to know who's going to be good next year.
It's a complete crapshoot. There's no definitive way.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. None.
But the point is, you want to see Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel probably at least one of them play at some point. But I'd be leaning towards starting Joe Flacco week 1 for me.
To me, I've always thought Joe Flacco would start.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at it from a standpoint of you got 2 quarterbacks. If you want to draft a quarterback next year, don't you have to see what quarterback you got this year?
Yes. Wait a minute. Let's call a spade here, okay? Mm-hmm. Right now, there's 4 quarterbacks on this roster. When that 53 come out, it's going to be 3.
That's correct.
Who's getting cut?
I think you'll be able to trade
somebody will get traded.
A late round pick. I would say Pickett. But I got no problem with letting all 4 compete.
That's how
Zero problem.
That's going to happen.
That's how
they're going to get traded. Force Kenny Pickett out. Maybe he blows us all away.
I'm just trying to say, like,
well, one of them is going to be gone.
Somebody's leaving.
And I doubt it's going to be either of the rookies.
Now, here's
it ain't going to be Dillon Gabriel's a 3rd round pick. He's good.
Hold on.
Out of everybody, Dillon Gabriel will be on the roster.
Let's just get to the kicking it then. Like, let's just keep it real. The question is, what is the percentage chance that Shedeur Sanders is on the 53-man roster when the season starts?
90%.
I just seen the Toronto, the CFL team got first rights to him.
Oh, yeah?
If he don't make it.
I'm saying 90% short Shedeur's on the team.
90%?
Yeah.
I go 95.
If this season's going to stink, you need marketing. He's going to be here. He going to put butts in the seat.
But listen, and I hate how people don't see. I've always told you people out there, listen, when you don't talk about politics. No, this is all political. The political game. Listen, I'm going to tell you right, I still want to know who did it. Somebody came downstairs in the middle of the night and said, Jimmy, this needs to stop.
You know who said it?
Jimmy's
You know who said it?
who?
Donald Trump actually put a tweet out
Look,
saying
look,
said it for the first round.
It's ridiculous that Deion said that
Somebody, I don't know whose wife came down in the middle of the night and said, "Listen,
Jimmy, this got to stop.
This has to stop now." Well, I didn't have anything to do with it. I told you I was trying to stay out of it. No, guess what? When the political nature comes, you can't have the third highest jersey already. The two highest jerseys is Travis Hunter,
Cam Ward, and Shedeur Sanders.
And this dude is a 5th round pick. Why would you not just print the money?
This is pre-ordered jerseys.
So
The
you
number
saying
hasn't
100%?
even been identified.
The number ain't identified.
It's whenever they put the number,
it could be a
the
nasty-
shipment goes out.
It could be a nasty number. It could be a nasty number like 18.
What's your percentage? I'm saying 90. Mike said 95.
100%.
100%.
I'll play devil's advocate. I'll go 80%.
All right, what's the percentage chance that Joe Flacco's here opening day?
50-50.
Yeah, that's a 50-50.
All depends on how.
I'm gonna say 60.
If he got that arm, he's in there.
Kenny Pickett 50 also?
My prediction: the Flacco Pickett winner stays. The loser gets traded. They keep both rookies. That's the 3 quarterbacks.
That's most likely what happens.
Yeah.
And if it's a true competition, I'll be stunned if Kenny Pickett beats out Joe
technically, the
Flacco.
competition is against Joe and Kenny.
Yes, but there would be 2 competition. First of all,
They're probably competing for quarterback.
everybody should
Yes.
compete for
If
the starting
Shedeur
job.
or Dillon
If
is
one of the
best,
rookies wins the
should
job,
be
they should
QB1.
get it.
Yes.
That's simple.
I'll be stunned.
Even if it's Joe Flacco versus Kenny Pickett for the starting job and the loser's getting moved, you still want the other 2 guys compete to see who's going to be the backup.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep.
So
I just don't want this thing to turn into an Imani Bates on the Cavs type thing with Shedeur. Like, where everybody in the world is Imani Bates should be playing. It's ridiculous that the Cavs ain't got this man. I don't want Shedeur to be like that because it'll be worse.
That's why.
He has to play.
Couple things real quick. We move on. Number one, this would be way worse than Imani Bates. G was the only one hot and bothered on Imani Bates.
No! All celebrities.
Okay, fine.
Every black celebrity loves Imani Bates.
And we still
How do I get in the black celebrity pipeline? How am I not knowing these things? I need to be in the black celebrity pipeline.
I'll submit an application this afternoon.
I want an application.
So
number 2,
you want to be in the black celebrity pipeline. That's crazy.
let me tell you something else. Number 2,
Pause.
to make it's much easier for the Browns not to me, yeah, I'd love to see Shedeur Sanders play, but don't play him until he's ready.
Okay.
Don't force it, right?
Okay.
It's much easier to do that if Joe Flacco's the starter versus Kenny Pickett. Because the fans like Joe Flacco.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
The fans like Joe Flacco.
Kenny Pickett throw a pick.
I think in a perfect world, Joe Flacco starts the season, and then eventually Shedeur comes in.
Can I say this?
Nobody's going to want to see Kenny Pickett
If
play.
Kenny Pickett throws a pick, it's going to be,
Did you guys see that the Browns? Now they probably was going to do it. You said that the Browns declined Kenny Pickett's 5th-year option.
Yes.
Yeah, that was over $20 million. They were definitely
we knew that wasn't going to happen, right? Pickett got a raw deal here. When they
You guys-
drafted him,
He got a
You
raw
guys mentioned
deal.
Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah.
And when we did our big draft recap yesterday, we mentioned Gabriel. We didn't kind of dive into what he brings. So let's spend a few minutes here talking about Gabriel's skill set, how he fits into Stefanski's offense, and why, according to reports, they had him graded higher than they had Shedeur Sanders. This next topic is brought to us by Living for We. Gun violence is an epidemic, guys. It's the leading cause of death for teenagers. And on this season of Living for We, we're asking what can be done to end cycles of violence in cities like Cleveland, where the shooters value their reputation over their own lives and see innocent bystanders as just collateral damage. Living for We is more than a podcast. It's a resource for communities tired of chaos and ready to build peace. Living for We tells the real stories from those most affected and solutions from change makers in the community. The mission is simple: empower communities to create safer neighborhoods free from gun violence by highlighting local heroes, connecting resources and solutions, and building bridges through honest, community-driven dialogue. You can find this award-winning show wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch full episodes of Living for We by searching for them on YouTube. Bull, you had Greg Cosell on your show.
Yes.
He was also on the Ross Tucker podcast this week. Ross Tucker, we are thrilled to announce, will be joining us much more frequently during the football season as a part-time contributor to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
In fact, I asked Greg Greg, when he was on if you haven't seen it, when our show is over, go and watch my podcast this morning, which Greg Cosell, I asked him about every player the Browns drafted. He gave a breakdown of every single player, no exceptions. And then at the end, I asked him what his breakdown on Ross Tucker was. So,
okay.
Perfect. So make sure you listen.
We won't be playing that now.
But we have 2 clips, one from your podcast with Greg, and then Greg on Ross Tucker's podcast talking about Dillon Gabriel and how he fits into what Kevin Stefanski likes to do. Tyrus, I know he's a guy that you've talked about, so let's hear Greg Cosell breakdown on Dillon Gabriel and kind of figure out in our own words why he fit what the Browns may have been looking for with that 3rd-round pick. This is Greg Cosell on Adam the Bulls podcast and then with Ross Tucker.
The kid, and this is cliched. I realize what I'm about to say is cliched, but he knows how to play quarterback. He understands how to play the position. But obviously, he's got certain things that are problematic. And just one other point: he has a little bit better arm than probably people think. Not a power arm, but he doesn't have an average arm. It's better. It's a little better than that. I think that Gabriel is a guy that has a natural feel for the position. I think he's got subtle and nuanced pocket movement, which you don't see from a lot of college quarterbacks. I think he has a pretty refined feel for when to come off intermediate route concepts and check the ball down. He rarely gets stuck in the pocket. I mean, I think you're dealing with a guy, obviously, because he was 5'11" and an eighth. He's got a little bit better arm than people are giving him credit for. He does not have a bad arm at all. What he needs at the next level, and I think in an ideal world, this is what Kevin Stefanski wants his offense to look like, is he needs a passing game built on timing and rhythm concepts, maybe an emphasis on RPO and quick game.
So that was Greg Cosell giving his 2 cents on your podcast and with Ross Tucker on Dillon Gabriel. Ty, when you look at the tape, you look at what Kevin Stefanski wants to do in an offense, and considering the fact that we know the Browns took him in the 3rd round before taking any other quarterback, what do you think Stefanski in this front office saw in Gabriel that makes him a good fit for what they want to do offensively?
Well, I put out a tweet about it, and Greg kind of touched on it with his closing argument there. The thing about Kevin Stefanski's system is it's all about timing. You think about why didn't Baker Mayfield and Odell work? Well, Odell wasn't where Baker needed him to be at the time Baker needed him to be. But Amari Cooper was. That's what made Amari Cooper look so good. Joe Flacco threw on time. Anytime any quarterback comes in here and throws the ball on time, that receiver runs that route and he knows by the time I get out of this route, that ball's going to be right where I want it to be. That's when you see Kevin Stefanski's offense flourish. We talked about every quarterback in this draft, and we talked about how all these quarterbacks need to sit because all of them hold on to the ball too long. That's just how college is. Caleb Williams had that same thing last year, and he's still trying to get coached out of it. For some odd reason, college quarterbacks try to give up the good to go for something great. But if you look at Dillon Gabriel is a guy that throws the ball on time because he realizes, all right, I got some really good receivers, and he's an athletic guy. Like, he can beat you with his legs, but that's not what he wants to do. He wants to sit there and feed his guys. And he fits perfectly with what Kevin wants to do. That's how this guy was, at a point in time of last season, this guy was tied for first place for completion percentage. Now, Shedeur went on to win that. A lot of check downs and a lot of east and west throws. Shout out to Cam Ward for pointing that out. But, Dillon Gabriel, to me, I think he's not the biggest guy. He's not the flashiest guy. This is a guy who's truly a leader. You sit down and you talk to him. This is a guy that was pumped about a minivan. He got an NIL deal to get a free minivan. And he drove that minivan like it was a Lamborghini. Like, that's all he cared about. So, he's a very humble guy, and he loves the game of football, and I think that's what appealed to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think Tyvis says some good stuff there. I do think it's ironic that when you are the underdog, you get the benefit of the doubt. Because usually people will say, well, Shedeur Sanders' arm is, it's good, but it ain't crazy. But when they talk about Dillon Gabriel, his arm is better than what you think.
It's a little bit above
It's a little, and you're like, okay. They be like, Shedeur Sanders ain't really big. He ain't like 6'4". Dillon Gabriel's under 6 feet, and they be like, but look, he plays bigger in the pocket, though, boy. He plays a little bit bigger than his size.
Greg Cosell said to me, I don't know if this was part of the clip we had. Greg Cosell did say to me that Gabriel looks small. Plays small. He said he plays small.
I think what they like about it is the accuracy. And one of the things that I think that Kevin Stefanski didn't like in the last stint that he had last year was all the turnovers, the DTR picks, the Jameis Winston interceptions. You could just see him on the sideline losing his mind inside his body, and he couldn't even yell or scream. His beard just still stayed the same color. It was a little lighter when he was happier. But other than that, he didn't really show it like that, but he was over there screaming. He just don't like the interceptions. And he feels like this guy will throw on time. He's a rhythm guy. He feels like, okay, if I can use him, they talked about how smart he is and how he's played a bunch of football 6 years. You know, that's the only problem that we got a little bit too. In prior years, because I remember he wouldn't play for UCF. Prior years, what would have happened would be guys will come out and you got 4 years, maybe 5. Man, you know how many people then had 6, 7 years of football? These dudes just like
It was COVID. COVID gave them that extra year.
I guess, man, these COVID years, when they gonna run out? Because it's 27, 28
I think they're done.
dudes.
I think last year's class.
But here's the thing, guys. Like, now that they've made this pick, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, none of us will talk. His name was Mike. Did 87,000 different topics leading up to the draft about quarterback. We never mentioned this guy once.
At all.
Well,
ever.
To be fair,
okay,
I mentioned his name once.
You mentioned his name once.
I said I would take him later in the round.
Okay, so you mentioned him once.
I mentioned one time.
Sean King.
And Jason asked Sean King about it. But he was basically completely off the radar.
Right. Everybody had him 6'7".
I know nothing about this guy. I saw him play against the Buckeyes. Wasn't really paying close attention to him. I don't know if he could play or not. Somebody asked me the other day.
He was in the Heisman.
Tyvis? I don't love college football. I only watch the Buckeyes. I don't really watch much of college
Oregon
football.
From an East Coast standpoint, Oregon come on at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm not staying up to watch Oregon football.
Me, I work for the Big Ten,
Right,
so I had no choice. I had to watch it.
Just like I'd stay up late to watch the Dodgers game to hear Vince Scully. It's the same thing. I don't know. Maybe this guy he has great football instincts. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. That's going to give him a chance to overcome some talent deficiencies. Give him a chance. I think so often we talk about quarterback competitions and they don't really let them have it. Let's have a real competition. Let's see what these guys got. And you know what? As much as the stories about Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders, if this guy balls out, we'll all be rooting for him.
If he
Let's go.
This is what I want to really say, man. Like, this says more about us. It ain't about these dudes, man. It says more about the fan base and our inner thoughts and our biases and our immaturity level on this is the tribalism that we have for the Cleveland Browns is at an all-time high. And listen, we've been doing this stuff. I can't do 10 more years of that. Like, we've been doing it. Like, it's whether or not it's Odell or Baker. And then it was like, okay, well, those guys are gone. They left them. Some people was mad about that. Then you got to Deshaun Watson. Everybody lost it. Then it was like, even the guys like Myles Garrett. Oh, Myles Garrett, he wanted to trade. I don't like him either. He's like, bro, this is wild. Now we get to a point where, okay, we got Deshaun Watson is no longer here where he actually is here. We got 4 quarterbacks. For the most part, they all knew. Bro, just wait and see what happens. Root for them. Whoever come out on top, we're going to root for them. We want them to throw touchdowns. But please don't start making stuff up early. Please don't just disqualify Gabriel because he's a little shorter or you may not have saw him play. Don't disqualify Pickett. Listen, I joke about Kenny Pickett. Don't disqualify him because
he kicks ass.
Honestly, you know what I think played a small, not big, very small role into why I think they're comfortable with Dillon Gabriel? If you look at Arizona, Kyler Murray, he's running the offense that Kevin wants to run again.
Right.
And for the beginning of that season, Arizona was on fire.
Yeah. And then they
kind of fell off the cliff. But it showed that you can have success with a smaller quarterback because Kyler Murray ain't nothing but 5'9" himself. Now, Kyler Murray is a way better athlete than Dillon Gabriel, so I will put that out there. But don't sit there and say because I don't want it to work because he's 5'8" or 5'9". Kyler showed you it can work. It can work.
He's less than a foot. Oh, less than a foot. He's less than an inch shorter than Baker.
Yeah.
That's it. Baker's 6 foot even, isn't he?
Maybe.
He's probably
he's 5'11", and he was officially measured in at 5'11" and an eighth. This guy.
Baker's listed at 6'1", so.
Yeah,
No, was that his official combine?
I'm just saying ESPN.
I think his
ain't
official
6'1",
was, I think his official combine was like 6 foot even, or maybe even 5'11" and 7/8 or something.
Baker's 6'1".
Guys, here's the
He
good
was
thing.
6 foot and 5/8 at the combine.
Okay, so he's an inch and a half taller. I mean, that's not really much of a difference.
He's taller than Bryce Young, who was the number 1 overall pick.
Exactly.
He's taller than Kyler Murray, who was the number 1 overall
Yeah,
pick.
let me say this, that I'm hopeful that if Kevin Stefanski is a good coach, that he will truly have a real competition, allow all 4 guys to compete. I know that's hard with 4 guys, but I would hope so. And what gives me hope is that it's not a Watson situation where he's owed a ton of money. And you're like, well, we're going to lean this way because he's got all this. None of these guys are making any legitimate money.
No, one of them.
None of them were used with high draft capital. And so there's no real incentive to purposely give an unfair advantage to one guy over the other.
I want to see, and thank you for mentioning Kevin Stefanski. I really want to see him do his best coaching job.
This is his chance.
I really want to see, because
outside of Joe Flacco, the rest of them, two of them has no experience, and the other one didn't have a great experience.
You got two running backs. You got one young tight end. You got 3 younger quarterbacks. Like, you got a bunch of these guys that you need to be putting time, energy, and effort with and coaching them up. And also, we talk about Kevin Stefanski's system, and we've been saying that a lot, what he wants to run. Listen, don't come out here with that 2023 package and think that's what it's going to be.
What you talking about?
I need them to add some stuff to it.
Listen,
you got to add some.
This team should really live in 12 personnel.
I want to see
22 personnel too.
I do that too.
I want to see.
I rode 12 personnel with them.
I want to see some updated version of what you was running. I want to see some wrinkles. I want to see some new stuff. Like, don't come out here and be like, yeah, we ran this with Flacco, and yeah, you got smoked running that same thing with Flacco.
Well, they didn't.
And here's the thing, G, as you said, it's a clean slate.
Clean.
There's almost all young or outside of Flacco and on some level Jerry Jeudy and Njoku. There's so many young players, unproven guys who have no right to claim I should get this, I should get that.
At all.
You just brought up a point. I just thought about this. You know why they didn't draft a wide receiver?
Why is that?
Because they're going to live in 12 personnel.
Yeah.
And with 12 personnel, you only need 2. Tillman, Judy. That's all you need.
Because if Johnson, if he makes the team, we'll get into that. We're getting into that, right?
Yeah, we're going to do Shedeur next, then the receiver.
But
he's going to make the team.
But yeah.
What else they got?
I mean, you got a point. What you mean? The 8 ball coming back. So.
Well.
I mean, I could see. Listen, even with that, I mean, they don't got receivers.
No.
So it's like, I'm not going to sit up here and get cocky and be like, yo, they got, who else they got? Nobody.
Did we talk about Shedeur, or we got to do more on Shedeur? What are we doing?
No, you can do a menu RX.
Oh, yeah, all right. Let's do that.
Big
Let's do that.
All right. Well, tell us about one of our newest sponsors here.
Yeah, guys. I want to talk to you about Menu RX because my guy, Dr. Jake May, is the main guy there with Menu RX. And, you know, for people trying to lose weight like me, it can be a struggle, man. I was struggling all weekend. I'm on weight loss medication. I had some side effects that affected me. It's tough. There's a lot of obese people out there, myself included. A lot of people struggling with weight their whole lives. I'm sure you've been to all the well-known diet places that make the same diet for everybody, but it doesn't work. Now there's a lot of fad diets that pop up all the time. Eat this, eat that, do this, starve yourself here, blah, blah. If you're sick of fad diets, if you're sick of chain weight loss operations that just work for the general public and not for you, well, go to menu-rx.com, talk to Dr. Jake May and the rest of the team there, and let them design a plan just for you, specifically for you. Have someone you can consult with and talk to when you're going through the struggles that understand. This is not some random fly-by-night operation. You'll be talking with scientists and nutritionists, dietitians who work specifically and study specifically to help you lose weight. Instead of guessing what might work, Menu RX takes a personalized, science-backed approach to nutrition that's built entirely around you. MenuRx even accepts many insurance plans and HSA, FSA payments, so you might pay as little as $0 out of pocket. So whether you're chasing peak performance, building your dream body, or seeking optimal longevity, Menu-RX will help you reach your goals. Go to menu-rx.com to get your consultation today. There you go.
So we started talking Shedeur Sanders earlier, and we're going to get back to that conversation. But I want to start it with this, Tyvis, and I want to start with you on this in particular. Every time Shedeur comes up, people say he brings extra attention and drama that comes along with it. And I want to make it very clear. When we have this discussion, I don't think it's drama. Drama implies something bad. I just think it's attention that comes with the person, the player Shedeur is, and the weight his name carries. Tyvis, from a football standpoint, when we talk about a backup quarterback or a fifth-round pick in this instance who brings extra attention to what he does as a football player, what does that actually look like? Can you give us a little insight into what that means when everyone says, oh, the extra attention that comes with Shedeur? What actually is that?
I mean, the extra attention would be like national media always checking in on him. Like he would be a guy. It's like Bronny. Like when Bronny do something in the G League, they make sure they mention it or something like that. Shedeur has that same thing. Why? Because one, his dad was who his dad was. His dad also worked for NFL Network and stuff like that. So people are going to check in. He is a story that people want to see the end to. And because of the way the draft went for him, they want to see, did it make him or break him? You know, that's kind of the thing. Like, did that break him to where he's never going to be as good and everybody was right? Or is this kid proving people wrong? Like, is he going to become the starter, which would be a great story for ESPN and everybody involved? So that's the only attention. But, like, as far as the locker room goes, like, it's nothing. Like, it's really a nothing thing. He's going to show up. He's going to go to meetings. He's not going to get treated no differently than nobody else. And he's going to have to do his job and do his business. This guy, if he's coming in as a fifth-round pick, that means he's fourth on the depth chart right now. He'll barely get any reps. Rookie minicamp starts in, a week or two. He'll probably be the second quarterback there because it'll be him and Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel obviously will take the 1 reps. He'll take the 2 reps, and then they'll flip at some point, and then they'll do it like that. But when OTAs start, him and Dillon Gabriel splitting third-team reps, so he really has to lock in and make those reps count because in those reps, he's got to show why he deserves to be 3 or why does he need to be with the 2s like that. That's what you're going to see in OTA. So as far as the attention goes, that's just the national media just checking in on him all the time. But when it comes to him actually in the building and playing the game, it's nothing for the players or the coaches.
So you don't think any of the players will be bothered by the national attention?
No.
Okay.
So
I got my own. They got their own stuff to worry about.
Let's talk about what people do all the time. See, this is a red herring. Let's just be real. People use the word distraction and drama as a vague way to say, I just don't like what comes with this dude. I might not identify with him. I don't like the fact that he flashes the rollie. I don't like the fact that you was in a club with celebrities. I don't like the fact that somebody gave you $1 million. Why did they give him $1 million for sliding? He slid for a purpose. He wasn't humble. He wasn't. Listen, Aaron Rodgers ain't humble. Nobody is humble. People on this set ain't humble. Like, you don't get nothing.
I'm not humble.
When it comes to,
I'm very.
Man, when it comes to your job and what you're doing in your career, you have to have a certain level of edge about you that says, I'm going to continue to knock down these walls, and even if nobody don't believe in me. So that's one thing. People use the word drama and say, I'm gonna use that. I don't really like him like that because whatever it may be that rubs you the wrong way. But the reality of the situation, that's on you. It has nothing to do with the players. When you say it's a distraction, the people in the locker room, he's a cancer to the locker room. Half the people that say cancer to the locker room never been in the locker room. I find that convenient. What locker room you been in to understand? Did you talk to a player to say it was? Did you talk to any relatives? How do you know? You didn't do no interviews. So the narrative about being a distraction is just created and thrown on people. I got people up here all the time. I got Tyvis, I got Dustin, Sean King come on here, Cecil Shorts come on there. And you know what they tell me? And this is great while you watch UCSS. You know what they say? Man, when you undrafted, when you a third rounder, when you doing certain things, you worried about trying to take care of your family and going out here playing and busting your tail and breaking your career open. You're not worried about Shedeur Sanders. If you play defense, you never see Shedeur Sanders. He's over there, I'm over here. And if you get cut, think about this. I don't want you on my team. If you get cut because you can't concentrate because of the reporter asked you about Shedeur Sanders, you don't deserve to be in the NFL, and that's just the way it is.
They're not going to even
ask that.
They're not going to ask.
It's not a thing.
Unless Shedeur did something like in the preseason, then they'll ask you. But they're not about to ask. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go ask Shedeur about, or ask Kevin about Shedeur. So they're not about to ask no player about another player. The only time that players will talk to Shedeur is in the locker room.
Say it again.
We got meeting. What do y'all think go on in NFL buildings?
So I want y'all to get this down. So you don't. So Tommy JX5 64222. That says he's a distraction.
Let me break this down.
Talk to him again.
Let's describe just a typical regular NFL day. Okay, let's say we're in the regular season. This is how it goes. If you got treatment, if you got like an injury or something, or treatment, you're there at 6 o'clock, okay? So you go in the training room, all right? Everybody else shows up around 7:30. Meetings start around 8 o'clock, 7:45, some 8 o'clock. Starts with special teams meeting. Special teams meeting is 15 minutes. After special teams meeting, it goes right into team meeting. Team meeting's about 15 to 20 minutes. After team meeting, you go offense, defense. Offense goes into a room with the OC. Defense goes in a room with their DC. They sit there, they break down the game plan. After that happens, you go and do individual meetings. So you DBs or linebackers, quarterbacks, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. After that, you get 1 hour in between for lunch. And as you eat lunch, you get lunch for an hour, then you got to go get taped and get ready for practice. You have practice. Practice is about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. After that, you go back in the locker room, you take a shower, you get lunch or you get dinner, and you then watch tape from practice that you just had. Mm-hmm. After that, boom, the day is over. You're getting out of there about 5, 6 o'clock.
5, 6 o'clock and do some dudes.
So the amount of time that you have to sit there and talk to locker room talk is what, 2.5 hours out of that entire day? I just said
locker room talk, huh?
Like 2 hours. So you getting lunch or something like that? Like,
so the distractions that these guys are coming up with are mythical.
Yeah.
So when you say distraction and drama, make them speak and say exactly what you're talking about, because from the mouth of a former pro who done it, that was in the locker room, he said it ain't no distraction. So the distraction must be with you, not you personally, but the fan. That's where the conflict is coming.
That was a really mean point, G. I felt some emphasis.
No, there was no
emphasis. No. I just happened to be my buddy on that.
Yeah, it's all good. I think that, so there were all these reports that maybe he didn't handle these interviews well. Who knows what the truth is? Maybe there was some level of him not being as prepared for these interviews. Maybe. I have no idea. But I will say this.
Keep talking. Go ahead. Get your money off.
The guys doing the interviews are older guys, right? And you're used to what you're used to. And you're used to talking with college kids that don't have a ton of money. And that's changing just in general, not just because of Shedeur, because all these guys are not coming out. Mm-hmm. Especially if they're really good. They've made money in college, you know. And the players, for the first time in the history of college sports, have power. Players, you had no power when you played.
Not at all.
None. You got no money.
Nope. I was
nothing.
Scratching and clawing just to stay on the team.
These guys, I heard this kid, I can't remember now who, it was the Bengals, like second-round pick because he didn't go to a big school. And he was talking, because he didn't get a lot of NIL money because he went to a smaller school. And he was talking about, after the games, I would go drive Uber Eats, DoorDash. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sure, like, if you had played, you might have done something like that.
Probably.
Right? Like, because guys didn't have any money.
They allowed them to make money. So
you couldn't get free food from people. Like, maybe, obviously.
No, you could now.
Well, yeah.
Back in my day, you can't get nothing.
I think we're going to see a lot more or we're going to hear a lot more buzz about these old scouts and old GMs who are used to this power dynamic with the players and used to the players coming in very humble because they had no money. And the players, some of the players are going to have a little bit of different attitude. And probably because he's Deion Sanders' son and he's in the limelight, that got extrapolated. Maybe some of it, was Shedeur's fault. Maybe it was a little over the top. Mm-hmm. And maybe some of it is these guys went in there with an attitude of F this kid.
Can I throw this out?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, who knows what the truth is? But
see, this is my problem. I had a problem with the whole notion of you not coming in being professional and you not coming in being humble, bro. The NFL has had a long track record of asking stupid, inappropriate questions. Which is more immature?
Didn't Amari Cooper say that to somebody?
Which is more immature?
Yeah.
Him coming in and not reading your playbook like you want, or a general manager asking Dez Bryant if his mother was a sex worker.
Yeah. Those questions are inexcusable.
But no.
Wait a minute.
We're not going to skim over it. Listen, these guys are asked, somebody asked, hey, do you, when did you have an inappropriate sexual conduct with a man? How could you ask a player that?
Yeah. Didn't somebody ask, do you find your mom attractive?
Do you find your mom attractive?
Yeah.
Now, this is what
somebody asked Eli, was he gay?
That was him. That was him.
As far as Eli
this is the level and the foundation that the NFL is built on. So these are grown men, grown men that been sitting up in here in these offices doing all this, and you asking them type of questions, but yet still, oh, Deion's kid, the narrative, he did it to himself. Let me ask you a question. If your daughter went to a meeting or an interview and they asked her about her sexual orientation as a father, is that okay?
Of course not.
But why is it okay?
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait.
I'm asking.
Because I understand that when some of these people ask that because they want to see what makes you tick.
But
find another way.
But how is it?
Like it was like somebody would, like, not me, but somebody asked somebody person, like, what would you do if I slapped you right now?
Yeah.
And again, like, what you mean? I'm gonna beat you
again. How is it again as a professional? Listen, I conducted interviews with millions of people as a mid-level manager, right? There are certain questions HR tell you ain't not even crossing, touching, looking at. As a matter of fact, to protect yourself, we do interviews in threes so that we can have plausible deniability so somebody can say, I see what they said. And do I think that it's the craziest thing and the most is it the most egregious thing in the world? No. But all I'm bringing up is the hypocrisy and the double standards of anonymous people sitting there talking about unprofessional behavior, and you're asking about things that would get you sued or fired in the real world.
Yeah.
The NFL does this stuff and hides and throws rocks and puts his hand behind his hand, and that doesn't they've been doing it with a bunch of things. If we look at it, domestic violence, they did it with CTE, they did it with the combine stuff. At the end of the day, if you want to have a level playing field and talk about professional behavior, make sure that people's phone numbers don't get leaked out so people don't get pranked.
I agree. I agree with everything you say, G. I will say, though, two things can be true. One, the league handles things. I think it's a disgrace the way they ask these questions. It's completely inappropriate just because you couch it in. We got to see how he reacts to these. You can find other questions to see how somebody reacts without getting to that inappropriate level. That being said, I do want to know if my quarterback is studying a playbook I'm sending him. Right? Like
that's great.
You got to know that.
That's great.
You got to know.
But I would try to take that information by, hey, here's the playbook. It's a tablet. It says how much hours you wrote on it and how much hours you studied. The tablet don't lie. If you give me the tablet back and it says you only study 2 hours and I asked you to study the entire playbook, I know you didn't study.
What my boy Johnny do?
0
hours.
Yeah.
0.
And that's it. And if he didn't, and if in fact Shedeur didn't look at the playbooks, well, that's something he's got to correct.
If he didn't look at the playbooks, the Giants say, "Listen, we appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
No, we wish you best luck in the process and keep it pushing."
They said that Brian Daboll went at him, and he didn't like the way he came at him because he didn't, I guess, about studying the play. I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know what it is.
If you're Brian Daboll, listen. Sometimes the best way of finding out about a person is not looking directly at him.
Don't do that. No, heck no, G. Because now you tripping. Now you talking about a guy who you about to. You got. This is the thing. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Wait a minute. Because this is the thing. You talking about a guy who you have to justify being your franchise quarterback. So for Brian Daboll,
and saving his job
and saving my job. So like, you better know these things because I have to leave this meeting and then go up to the general manager and say I have to have that guy.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And if you give me anything, why would I do
being
that?
sneaky about how to see if they're studying.
I think you misconstrued me. I agree with everything you and McNuggets are saying. What I'm saying is, if I'm Brian Daboll, I give you the playbook. You didn't read the playbook. I'm not going back and forth with you. I'm gonna just say, listen, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you.
I agree.
And we on to the next one.
I think you're missing the report with the Giants. He got the playbook, and then Daboll asked him, according to reports, these are just reports, who knows the validity of them, these are just reports, to go over and write out some play.
Okay.
And then he wanted to change it on the fly to see how Shedeur would adapt on the fly.
Okay.
He was not prepared with the terminology or the install terminology, according to these reports.
Okay.
And then when Daboll said, hey, like, we asked you to know this so we could have this discussion, according to reports, Daboll did not like Sanders' answer to that. So that it wasn't he didn't read the playbook. It was allegedly, reportedly, it was a back and forth in not knowing the install terminology.
Here's how you do it. You go to the board, pull up XJ25 slant go. You don't know that terminology? Note to self. Okay.
See ya.
Okay. No problem. No, come on over here. We'll go over some other stuff.
No, but in the same breath.
I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm not saying that's a huge thing.
What you're saying is absolutely right. What a lot of people do.
Yeah, I'm done with
there's
that.
also coaches have the thing where you never really want to miss an opportunity to coach because although he blew it with the Giants, that confrontation woke him up for next time. So I don't know if he had another meeting or not after that with another team. But if somebody came to him and said, hey, we want to give you this install, so you need to know this inside and out, I bet you he like, all right, after just having that, all right, I'm going to definitely make sure I know the terminology for this. So it's one of those situations that I'm not saying Brian Daboll's right or wrong in the situation, but I think he took that opportunity to teach a lesson.
Okay, so it's all about here's how I go about it. It's all about having the opportunity to have the interview. And if I could teach at that moment, or I could come away with two different ways. I could be confrontational about it, which it seems like there was a confrontation.
I mean, I got into it with Aaron Glenn.
So, or there's another.
Tell us about that.
I tell you that story. All right, so we when I'm doing my draft thing, they came to the Woody, Ohio State's facility, and it was me, Eli, and Vaughn. And Aaron Glenn came in there and he drew up the defense on the board.
Was he with New Orleans at the time?
Yeah, he was the DB coach in New Orleans. He drew up the defense on the board. And after he got done, he erased it and he said, Tyrus, go to the board and draw up the defense. So I go up there and I draw up the defense, exactly like what it is. And he goes, it was a buzz player. It was like they called it something else. I called it buzz, but it's the same thing. I drew it up perfectly, and he was like, "Well, what's that called?" I'm like, "It's a buzz player." He's like, "No, that's wrong." I'm like, "How's that wrong? That's literally what it is." And Vaughn was sitting there. He was like, "It's not called buzz. It's called something else." I'm like, "You know what the heck? You know I know what it is." But that, like, me and him got into it over that, and that was. Like, so when you say that, when I hear this Shedeur thing, like, I'm wondering, did he draw it up and didn't know what to call it, but he actually knew what it was? Like, because at that point, like, you just pulled it.
Who knows?
You just, like, that's petty.
Only Shedeur and the teams he met with know the truth of exactly what happened. A lot of cases, there's one side, there's the other side, and then there's the truth in the middle. So was Shedeur as prepared as he could have been? Maybe not.
No.
Did the teams all handle it perfectly? Maybe not. Whatever it is doesn't matter. Now he's a Cleveland Brown. He needs to work his ass off to get better because the league, you can say what you want, that he should have gone higher. The league, enough teams in the league decided he wasn't worth a first-round pick. So he needs to show them, and he needs to stick it in everybody's face and say, I was worth a higher pick. Let's go out there and do it. Whatever led to this point is pretty much irrelevant.
Like, for me, like, could he have probably done a lot of different things differently in the interview process, sure.
Yeah.
I think there's some situations where he went in there unprepared because he think he's going higher than that, right? But in that instance, that works for the betterment of him. Like you said, it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe Dable came at him a little bit because it's like, okay, well, now I know, like, people really ain't really messing with me like that. You know? Yeah. People really ain't even, they is not messing with me. And like you said, no, he shouldn't have went higher. You never get mad that somebody didn't choose or take you. It's up to you to make them pay for not taking you.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, bro, hey, thank you so much. The only opportunity that he need is the one they gave him in Cleveland. Because if he put on and do what he needs to do, all of the different stuff that he want to do, he can get to that. And I agree with you in a sense, too. We started talking about the overall big picture, right? And there is a bigger picture where you got Shedeur Sanders, right? And he's another high-profile quarterback. He's here. The thing that I don't want to get to, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, is the fact that you don't want to seem to find a way to make every single person the narrative that, listen, guy, I see it on the internet, this is not Deshaun Watson. We're not going to, we don't have to morph this all the way into a Deshaun Watson situation where it was, oh, well, Deshaun Watson was doing that, that's a distraction. Well, now he's doing this, that's a distraction. These people are two different people, two different circumstances, and at the end of the day, let the dude come out here and play. Like, let's judge his game on the field. Like, let's not be. We shouldn't be the National Enquirer. I don't gotta look at his timeline and be on his Instagram page talk about, did you see what girl he was with? Did you see the meal that he ate with his girlfriend? Did you see the car he bought? Come on, fellas. That's wild to me, man. Like, you got all these quarterbacks. What I want to see is everybody get a shot, including Shedeur Sanders, and the best man win. But the drama conversation, I think we could tuck it in and be like, look, he's here now. It doesn't matter if Jimmy picked him. Don't matter if Stefanski picked him. It don't matter if D Haslam picked him. He's here in the building. Now what we're going to do with it? Let's get to work. Let's play this ball.
All right, Mike.
You just ready to talk some receivers?
Yeah.
Some big-time receiver gets by the Cleveland Browns. We'll get to that after a quick word from FanDuel. Guys, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action right now. When you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
You feeling now?
2 receiver moves the Browns made yesterday. 1, they signed Deontay Johnson. 2, they put the rarely used
Bizarre.
free agent tag.
I had never even heard of this. Have you ever heard of this unrestricted free agent
If
tag?
you haven't heard of it, I haven't heard of it.
Will you explain it to people who don't? I have a basic understanding.
I had never even heard of it before last night, and then I looked up to see what it was. I've heard, you've heard of the tender on guys who are like or restricted free agents and stuff like that, or guys who are like undrafted free agents. You have that. So this is, I didn't know this rule existed.
It's been used like 3 times in the last 15 years.
Really? I didn't know if it had been used at all. So how it works is the unrestricted free agent deadline, which I didn't know existed, apparently is July 15th. I can't remember now the exact date. It's sometime in July.
It's changed. It actually got moved up to May 1st now.
Oh, really?
With this tender. So, yeah, he will be a
that's
Cleveland
a big
Brown
difference.
in 4 days.
If he doesn't sign with someone else.
Sign with someone next. 2
Okay, that's a big difference. It used to be in July. All right.
It got moved up May 1st.
He signed this unrestricted free agent tender, which means if Elijah Moore does not sign with another team by May 1st, then he can only sign with the Browns after that.
Correct.
And he's guaranteed, if he does sign with the Browns, I believe it's $3.5 million.
3.42.
I'm a little curious why the Browns did that. No, do you think any other team's going to pay him $3.4 million in the next 4 days?
No.
The Bills yesterday, and then this news came out. So take that however.
Yeah. Do you think anybody's going to pay him $3.4 million?
No, he's not. He's been on.
So I didn't realize the deadline was May 1st. Okay, so we'll know by May 1st.
The talent, he's a very talented wide receiver.
But he has never put it together.
He has
obviously
not produced in the NFL, but for the talent that he has, is somebody probably could look at him and say, I can do something with that, because it's hard to, like, the talent is the hardest part to have.
This just goes to show you, I do not believe that the Cleveland Browns are taking this year. I just don't believe it. The moves like this.
I told you. We are not picking within the top 10 this year.
They are, like, because this move right here, if they was wanting to just tank it and just, punt on the season, they would let Jamari Thrash
Well, you wouldn't sign Deontay Johnson
You wouldn't sign
What do you make
Deontay
of the Johnson signing?
Well, here's the thing with the Johnson signing, guys. I'm very torn on this. Like, I understand the guy's a talented player. He had a nearly 1,200-yard season 3 years ago at Pittsburgh. Including that season, he had back-to-back years where he had like a total of 15 touchdowns.
Yep.
However, what he did last year was a disgrace. And it's not – I understand he started with the Panthers. That's a bad organization. Okay. He gets traded to the Ravens, right?
They refuse to go in.
Say what you want about the Ravens. You hate them. The Ravens are one of the best organizations in the NFL.
Did he ever give a reason why he didn't go in?
He was unhappy
He was
with how
unhappy
he was
with
being
playing
used
time.
and did not want to go in garbage time.
So he refuses to go in the game. They suspend him for a game. They end up cutting him. He goes to the Houston Texans. In their playoff game, he is complaining on the sideline that he's not getting enough chances in the playoff
Talking
game.
about the Texans?
Yeah, did I say something else?
No, I didn't know this.
The Texans. And so they cut him. And the Ravens actually reclaimed him on waivers only because they thought they could get a compensation pick if somebody signed him. But because he signed after the draft, they don't get any compensation for him. So he got traded and then cut twice. And he got cut by the Ravens, definitely one of the 5 best organizations in the NFL, and an organization that in recent years has shown themselves to be pretty smart in the Houston Texans.
In the Ravens situation, they kind of had their guys.
But they traded for him.
I know, but he wasn't a starter for him, was he?
Well, they probably wanted him to be there a couple of weeks.
Well, the good news about right now is that he's coming in this all fair game right now.
Right, but do you want a guy that quit on his team?
The one thing I will say is that when he played Pittsburgh, he probably gonna try to play his best game of his life.
Hey, look, here's how it's gonna work. I love this. This is why I love it, Tyvus.
Yeah.
This is the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
That's training camp. Hunger Games. Hey, Jerry Judy, I know you got 1,300. Don't get cocky, dog. Don't get cocky. I love Jerry Judy, too. You my guy, too, man. Listen, hey, they gave Elijah Moore looking like they got Flacco back. I was the dog with Flacco. Njoku, hey, listen, David Njoku, I know you was good with Flacco, but you got Harold Fanning Jr., Bird. You got Birdman behind you, bro. You got Birdman behind you, bro. It's a wrap, bro. You better get your stuff together, fam. I love the Hunger Games out there. And if you get cut, you gotta put your setter in the air. What's your area code? Put it in the air.
What school you go to?
I went to OU.
No, high school.
McKinley.
Did he go to McKinley?
Yeah, I just made that up.
That's what this is about. That's what this is about.
I get what you're saying. Listen, in the end, there's not much downside with Deontay. If he's a pain in the ass, you cut him, you move on.
Yeah,
they're not giving him any guaranteed money. There's part of me that's like, do we need this guy? Is he going to be bad in the locker room? But if he is, they'll move on from him. I can live with it. There's certainly listen, on paper, he's their second best receiver.
Deontay Johnson, Elijah Moore, Jerry Judy, and Cedric Tillman if he ever gets his life together.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'm going to say this about Cedric. I'm going to say this, and nobody's been more negative on the Browns wide receivers than me. I have not given up on Cedric Tillman. I thought he showed something in the middle of the year, and then he got hurt, and he got sidetracked.
He never came back.
He never came back.
Yeah.
I still got – I'm not saying he's going to be a star. I still got hope that Cedric Tillman could become a solid number 2.
I
got hope.
Not
a guarantee.
McNuggets was about to be money on his prediction.
Yeah, and then it went down.
It went downhill.
Hey,
Got concussed.
I'm telling you, bro. Listen, them touches might be going down. You know, we got 2 tight ends now.
And we got 2 running backs.
2 backs.
3 running backs.
Look, they run.
By the way, Cosell thinks that it's not a 1A, 1B situation, in his opinion. He said Judkins is going to be the bell cow back. He says he is a...
Wait, who did he thought was one? Wait.
Well, a lot of people think they drafted these 2. They'll kind of split the carries. But Judkins is the main guy.
Judkins and Ford.
Oh, you think he's going to be a 3rd string?
Samson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
That's what Jason said, too. I think Samson's going to be 2.
I think it'll be...
But Judkins is going to be the lead back.
Because the fact that Jerome got the home run hitting the building.
Hey, hold on.
Judkins got walked down in the national championship.
Hey, Samson, let me come talk to you
and
real
that's
quick.
my boy.
Let me talk to you, Samson. Dillon. Hey, listen.
He taking Pierre Strong's spot.
The way our checking and savings is set up, we got enough money to get you boys up out of here. Listen, there's a spot open. I believe there's a spot open at multiple positions. You know, what's his name? Jerome what?
Baker?
No, not Jerome Baker. He's going to start too.
Ford.
Jerome Ford's hamstrings is like soft serve ice cream.
That
man's hamstrings is soft serve.
Come on, Ty. He the only home run hitter we got.
But he stayed
This kid's a home run hitter, the Tennessee kid, right?
Dillon Sampson, I like him. Come on, man.
He's a good back.
He's
a very balanced back.
He's nice.
I think Judkins is going to be...
Tennessee's offensive line was better than a lot of people.
Judkins is going to be a monster, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
like Kareem Hunt. Good. He's like Kareem Hunt.
But a young Kareem Hunt, right? Not like...
Yeah, go. You know how we got to the goal line and Kareem led the Browns in touchdowns. That's clinch.
We're going to see he'll be knocking guys. He's like a Nick Chubb type of back, no?
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
He's a powerful.
I mean, that's a high standard.
He ran a 4.4, but
and by the way, we put Nick Chubb's district up. I saw him doing some box jumps, but the Hunger Games called him early.
Got to say, I'm not, as you guys I think know, I'm not a big root for a guy when he goes somewhere else guy. I am 100% rooting for Nick Chubb.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's probably going to the NFC.
If he's
on the Bears, I'm rooting for him on the Bears.
Yeah.
I want him to have a great season.
Everybody in Cleveland would
100%.
actually.
So going from receivers that are actually in Cleveland to receivers that could end up in Cleveland, let's talk about a trade rumor that's making its way around the interweb right now.
No legitimate place is talking about this.
After a quick word from Living for We. Gun violence is an epidemic, guys. It is the leading cause of death for teenagers. And on this season of Living for We, we're asking what can be done to end cycles of violence in cities like Cleveland, where the shooters value their reputations over their own lives and see innocent bystanders as simply collateral damage. Living for We is more than just a podcast. It's a resource for communities tired of chaos and ready to build peace. The mission is simple: empower communities to create safer neighborhoods free from gun violence by highlighting the local heroes, connecting resources and solutions, and building bridges through honest, community-driven dialogue. Join host Marlene Harris-Taylor and Maisha Watkins every other Tuesday for brand new episodes of Living for We. You can find the award-winning show wherever you get your podcasts and watch full episodes by searching for Living for We on YouTube. So, Bo, yes, I cannot find someone to credibly
corroborate.
However, certain rumors get legs online, and then everyone in Brown's world is talking about it. So
and then they disappear a week later.
We'd at least discuss it for a second.
It's a fun thing to talk about.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, according to NFL Notification, which has put out some real stuff in the past and has put out some stuff that's been debunked in the past.
Okay.
The report was, and I would love to show it to you on Social News Desk, but Social News Desk is not working today because it stinks.
Okay, go ahead.
The rumor is, according to NFL Notifications, the Dolphins have been calling teams in desperate need of cornerback help. One team they've talked to is the Browns regarding Greg Newsome, a player they're open to being on the table with trading is Jaylen Waddle. So in this hypothetical world,
yes.
If it was Greg Newsome plus something,
I do.
For Waddle, is that a no-brainer for the
Affirmative.
Dolphins?
Of course, but there's no way on earth the Dolphins would do that.
Way that the Dolphins is doing that. Especially with the Tyreek situation.
Why would they?
Why
would they do that?
Why would they trade Jaylen Waddle?
You would trade your young best wide receiver away
for a a mediocre slot corner.
There's no way that this is
who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
I mean,
Waddle makes more money, so they would be opening up some money and helping the financial side of things. But I agree with you.
Why would they care about that now?
I agree. Listen, I'm just bringing a rumor to you.
And man,
guys.
I got.
Of course, we don't make that trade,
Bro, I got another corner if you want it. I got one on. I got 5 on a left guard if you need it, right guard, whatever. I got a couple things and a pick. What you talking about?
Man, I know they were able to get the second player in the second round and another first next year. But don't you wish they had Travis Hunter right now?
Look, man.
I shouldn't have brought that up.
It's still like it is really still like. You ever at the same time be trying to talk to 2 girls and then one of them play you off a little bit, but she obviously has the first round grade, and then you go for the second round talent, and the second round talent is like, oh, I've been trying to sign to your team since I've been starting here, and then you sign them to the deal, and then like 2 weeks later, first round draft pick come up and pull up and
you
be
throw
like,
the second one back to the
be
side.
like, hold on, why didn't you tell me you was going through something at that time?
Yeah.
That's why you didn't call me back. You be hurt. That Travis Hunter, it don't matter. You could be in a great place, in a great relationship. I love where I'm at. But that number 1 pick, that always sits in your mind.
It's only going to hurt if he actually produces.
But then you got to be forced to hate.
Nah, I'm not hating on
No,
that.
I mean, but you got to be like, at some point, you got to be like, nah, you can't have 1,800. Nah, you can't get 20 touchdowns.
Especially, even if he only becomes great at 1, it's still going to hurt.
It's gonna hurt.
They gonna play them highlights, and he gonna be dancing in that end zone. He gonna like ew.
And then we'll be like,
isn't he from Florida?
yes, he from Florida.
and then we'll be like, well, our guy's got
South.
42 tackles.
He got domes. He gonna be playing the Texans in the dome,
Well,
the Colts in the dome.
Let's hope Mason Graham is an
Our fat white guy's got bad facial hair and 47 tackles.
Stop it.
Come on. I'm a
Tyler,
fat
so
white
ask this
guy.
question. The Waddle thing, we agree, unrealistic. But let's take this one
We
step back.
all
and
be waddling if they get
pull it even to a bigger scope. The Browns did draft 2 young quarterbacks.
Supposed to draft 2 old quarterbacks?
Well, they drafted 2 quarterbacks to make the more youthful quarterback room.
All right.
Waddle, unrealistic in this scenario, but if a receiver, maybe not that level, but a receiver comes up on the market, would you guys be willing to listen to offers for another receiver to build up that core for whether it's Shedeur, Gabriel guy next year? Start contributing those assets
But
now.
who?
Well, I mean, think about this.
Yeah.
One thing is we just don't have an eye for receivers coming out of college.
That's the reason.
I think that's fair. So I think that they said we're not even going to do that. Our best way of doing it is via trade. Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy via trade. So I think that they said if we get to the point where we actually need one, we're just going to go ahead and do what we do best and acquire one via trade.
Because that's what they do.
You know what? The more I think about it, listen, if the Browns could get Jaylen Waddle, of course you're going to make that trade. But what I kind of like to see right now is the Browns, develop a quarterback, whoever that's going to end up being, and develop this offense. And then when they're closer to being a legit contender, which they're not right now, and we don't know, it could happen next year, it could happen in 3 years, I don't know. Then go and strike because there's always good receivers coming off that first contract that some teams don't want to pay. And strike on that.
You know what's funny?
In another year or 2 or whatever.
You know what's funny about what you're saying?
Yeah.
Is that I think McNuggets might have pointed this out. Is that championship teams, the running back is the final piece.
That was me.
And now you're trying to say we're going to build up everything and then the receiver's going to be the final piece. How often has that happened? Where they made the trade for the receiver.
Randy Moss and the Patriots.
No, they didn't win the Super Bowl.
They didn't win.
Oh, actually.
But, and A.J. Brown was a later acquisition by Philly. Obviously, they got Barkley later.
They won.
But he was one.
But Barkley was the final piece.
I hear you. But
Beckham Jr.
But Tyvis, I'm not saying
He got hurt.
Tyvis, I'm not saying that we purposely did that. But because of where the Browns are right now, they haven't spent again, I'm not saying if they could get Waddle today, of course I'm going to go get him. Mm-hmm. I don't think they need to go crazy and be desperate for it today.
Well, the reason why they don't need to be is because, honestly, Kevin's offense is never really, You know, as long as you where you're supposed to be, like, you going to get them over routes is going to be there. The bang gates is going to be there. You don't necessarily need to be this big flashy guy to be able to be successful in this thing. What? Don't sit there and say that.
You're right.
Amari Cooper was on his last leg. And
he got smoked.
What do you mean?
They got smoked.
He broke the record for most yards in a game.
And then they came back and smoked him the very next week.
No, it wasn't until next week. It was 2 weeks later.
I'm just saying, they don't need to pull the trigger right now on an older receiver is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, Waddle's young.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, let's say they build this up. Let's say it actually goes right for the Browns for once. Let's say Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel end up being a good young quarterback.
Okay.
And they're building up. Okay, now going into the 26th season or going into the 27th season.
You taking them 2 first-round draft picks.
Hey, let's see what we got. Let's go get the next whoever that's going to be. Justin Jefferson.
You got to wait till 2027 for JJ.
Let me throw this out here.
Yeah.
I mean, you technically can get him.
Don't do that.
I mean, it's like, look, people go to you come to the car lot. You technically, I could dig in my pocket. I got 2 firsts now. I ain't say you gonna give up a first, but y'all look at it too. Would you give up a 2 for Waddle? And you ain't got to talk about giving Newsom back.
2?
2.
Second-round pick?
You think they just give up Waddle for a second round?
Of course I would do it, but I don't think Miami would do that.
For 2 and Newsom?
I wouldn't do that if I were Miami. But again, if Miami would do it, sure.
McNuggets, that don't seem crazy. A 2 and Greg Newsom for Waddle?
If they
to me, Greg Newsom has
that sound about right.
That sounds
to
crazy.
me, Greg Newsom has 0 trade value.
When the last time
close to 0?
Since when the last time a receiver? What did AJ Brown go for?
He went for a 1.
The first.
I don't know. Let's look at that.
Double check it.
That's the last big receiver I think this got moved, right?
AJ Brown got traded for the 18th overall pick.
No, DK Metcalf just got traded.
DK Metcalf got
a second round pick.
That was a second-round pick.
But they had to sign him to a big contract.
That's true.
On his contract, he signed a 3-year extension last offseason. And when all those receivers were signing, it runs through 2028. It was a 3-year, $84 million extension. So it's not crazy money.
That's doable, Bull.
It's a big contract. It's not crazy.
If you get
I'm not arguing that I wouldn't do it. Of course we do it.
Yeah, we do it.
I just think
I don't think Miami would do it.
I don't think Miami. Miami's got a real good offense. Why would you could find a Greg Newsom type of guy.
Who they third wide receiver?
In Miami?
Yeah.
They don't really have they have a bunch of
Why, if they trade Waddle or Tyreek Hill, who would be the next guy?
No idea.
According to their 2025 depth chart, Malik Washington would be their third receiver right now. He was drafted last season.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
They're
not doing that.
It ain't my job to look at their roster.
If you ask the question, would you trade a second round pick and Greg Newsom for Jaylen Waddle? Of course, we're going to say yes.
Hey, listen, I ain't in their depth chart like that. I'm just trying to get my money off.
All right, Mike, what do we got?
We're going to talk some Guardians Bowl. Before we do that, I need you to tell everybody why Menu RX is the right place to go if they're looking to get in.
Because it's the one place if you're looking to lose weight. I have struggled with weight my whole life. It's been up, it's been down. And I talk to Dr. Jake May once a week. I've lost 30 pounds in the last few months. It's been a struggle. I've been a little up and down the last couple of weeks. Every Wednesday morning I talk to Jake. We powwow about what's going on for me. Yeah, I got to do the work. But if it wasn't for Jake, I wouldn't have lost any weight here this last time around. I have never struggled more to lose weight than I have. As you get older, it gets harder. There's a lot of you out there. You're obese. You're struggling. You're worried you're going to die. I mean, this is scary stuff. It's really scary stuff. And Dr. Jake May and the Menu RX team are great. They'll work with you personally. This is not like some chain weight loss place where they have one plan for everybody. There's a specific plan made for you. So if you find it hard to stick with meal plans that feel rigid or out of touch with your lifestyle, you can also get lifelong access to tools in the Menu-RX client portal and a dedicated Menu-RX dietitian to support your success and long-term sustainability. So whether you're chasing peak performance, building your dream body, or seeking optimal longevity, Menu-RX will help you reach your goals. Please, get some help now. Menu-RX.com. Get your consolation today with Menu-RX.
All right, let's talk a little Guardians Bowl. Not a great performance from Gavin Williams.
Oh.
You were at his start before this, his most recent start before yesterday.
Yeah.
and he was awesome against the Yankees. And last night, first pitch, gets hit out of the ballpark, and he struggled to get out of the second inning.
Yeah, he got a little unlucky because outside of that home run, there were a lot of singles. And by the way, oddly enough, that home run would have only been a home run in, I think, 7 ballparks. Here's the thing with Gavin Williams. It's so frustrating because it seems like every time he pitches great, he follows it up with a terrible start.
Yep. Yeah, he does.
Zach and I were just talking about this on the Guardian show yesterday, guys. Last year, he pitched this great game. I think it was against the Royals. I'm trying to remember now.
It was Kansas City.
Right. I think he threw like 8 shutout innings or something. And then I think the following start, he couldn't get out of the first inning. And he wanted to stay in, but, he gave up 1 million base runners. He'd thrown a lot of pitches in 2 innings. Listen, he's a young pitcher. Sometimes we expect too much too soon. But the Guardians put us in that position by not having enough veterans on the team. And so we're expecting more early in his career from Gavin Williams than maybe we should. But he's very talented, and so it's frustrating, especially when their entire starting rotation has been terrible.
Is it safe to say? Now, I'm not saying it's safe to say. But just like Rocchio, you're like, listen, Rocchio, that ship may have sailed on.
Yeah.
Has the ship sailed
on Gavin?
Not for me. No.
On Gavin being
the ace,
a electric top 1-2 guy in a rotation.
No, because pitchers really take a while sometimes. There's a young pitcher. If you're not a diehard, maybe you know it, Tyvis, because now you're Mr. Columbus Radio. There's a young pitcher on the Cincinnati Reds by the name of Hunter Green.
Oh, I do know who that is. They love him.
Okay. Hunter Green came up with a lot of hype, right? And when he first came up to the big leagues, he struggled. Took him a little while. Go look at what Hunter Green's done since, I want to say, about August of last year. This guy's maybe been the best pitcher in baseball since nobody knows who he is unless you follow the Reds.
Since last year?
Since August of last year, so maybe July of last year. So the last 4 months, he's been one of, if not the best pitcher in baseball. Take some time.
You know the Adam the Bull rule.
You don't like Nick Leonardo?
No, the Adam the Bull rule is you got to do it not 1, but 2 years.
Yes, absolutely. And this kid, now everybody's thinking, I love what I'm seeing. Every time he pitches, he's must-watch TV for me, if you're a diehard baseball fan. I think Gavin Williams is that level of talent. Maybe not quite as talented, but I think he's close. I think he could be.
How does he give up all these hits, though?
It's crazy sometimes.
And they be stringing them together.
You never know what's going on inside a guy's head. It seems to me that he sometimes
he better get it out his head.
But he needs to have more consistency. And right now, listen, it's funny because their record's decent.
Yeah.
They'd be a playoff team if the season ended today.
They always do it.
Yet, there's a lot of things I don't like what I'm seeing.
Who's the most consistent starter we have?
Nobody.
I know. That's what I was saying.
It used to be Bybee.
I'll still say Bybee, but he hasn't been very good. They all have ERAs over 4.5, I believe.
And they're still right up there with some of the best records in baseball. It actually doesn't make sense.
Well, in the American League, because the American League is so balanced. But, I mean, Rocchio's been a disaster. Jose's not playing particularly well. You got Kwan's been great. Manzardo's been very good. Angel Martinez has been really good. Gabriel Arias has been good.
Christmas is not coming in July.
Bo Naylor's been I'm going to shock you. This is the most shocking thing I've ever said. I would be playing Austin Hedges more right now.
Anthony literally just...
Did I just shock you with that?
No, because he's been that bad.
Because Bo Naylor can't hit, I might as well play Hedges. He's the better leader. He's the better defensive.
He's a power hitter.
Bull, I'm not going to lie. I had that on my list of topics this week.
My boy Hedges.
This series to snap back.
That's how bad. The Guardians, if Bo Naylor doesn't turn it around, they got to get a new catcher next year. But he's got this season to figure it out because he's terrible. And here's the problem with the Guardians is they have so many hitters. We just talked about the starting pitching. That's a problem that I have some optimism could turn around by the end of the year. There's talent there. But in the lineup, there's too many holes. Carlos Santana, I give him a little longer. He might be done. He's 40 years old. He's been absolutely horrendous. If he doesn't turn it around by the time David Fry comes back, he's done. Rocchio has been awful. He has no baseball instincts. He's a terrible base runner.
What about Gabriel?
A
524 OPS.
Terrible. He ain't got no home runs on the year.
You know how bad a 524 OPS is? God. That's like shooting.
He's supposed to be 1,000.
That's like shooting 18% from the 3-point line, Mike. I'll put that in
it's
perspective.
bad. Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Give us everybody.
Arias.
No, I'm talking about the guys. So you're getting 0 out of shortstop.
Jose is making errors.
You're
at
getting
third.
0 out of first base. I think Jose will be fine, but I don't really like the way he's playing right now. I think he's hurt, and he's playing through injury again. You're getting 0 out of catcher. And you're getting very little out of right field. Nolan Jones, I think, will come around.
Lane Thomas.
He's been a little hot. Lane Thomas was awful, and now he's hurt.
Bum.
John Kenzie's looking like Oscar Gonzalez Part 2.
Yeah, he looked like he's just.
He can't do anything out there.
Listen, he's up there swinging and missing.
Yeah.
Every day.
And that's what happens when you have these platoons. You have these platoons.
He got to get a hold of just one. Once he get one, it's a wrap.
And you look at your best prospects. 2 of their best prospects are hurt hitters that are at. Bazana's been struggling at AAA or AA, so you're not going to call him up right now.
What does Juan Brito do?
Brito's hurt.
He's hurt?
Is DeLauder hurt again?
DeLauder's not again. He's still out from when he got hurt at the beginning of the year.
It scared me. I thought it was
So there's no, who are you calling up? There's nobody from the minors to call up right now.
CJ Kafkas.
I guess so. I got to learn how to pronounce his name since he hasn't been in the majors yet. We know how to pronounce his name correctly.
You see Sticks is going to the minors?
He is. Yeah, he cleared waivers last night. Nobody picked him. I thought somebody would pick him up, but nobody claimed him. So he's off the 40-man roster, but he goes to the minors.
So he'll be in Columbus?
I assume.
Yeah,
I'm going to a Clippers game.
This is the problem with the Guardians.
Maybe you can teach him how to gain weight.
They are right. That's funny.
That wasn't really making fun of you, but then I realized it kind of came off that way.
The problem with the Guardians is like.
Yeah, I thought you called Tyvus fat there.
No. Like it was.
I'm definitely not calling Tyvus fat. But,
man.
The division that they're in is always going to keep. It gives you false results.
I will say this though, G.
Lost to the Twins, man.
I was not as high on the Tigers.
I told you.
Coming into the season.
I told you.
I thought they'd be good, competitive.
I said,
you was like, I don't fear their line. That would go through their line. You can't even name nobody else.
I still don't love their lineup, but 2 things have happened. Their pitching, which I thought would be good, has been even better than I thought.
Yeah.
Their bullpen, see where I thought they were, I didn't like their bullpen, and I was wrong. Their bullpen's been, I didn't think they could keep up what they were doing in their bullpen the end of last year. They've totally done it.
Man.
They've been even better. And Spencer Torkelson, who was once the first overall pick in the draft,
He's having a great season.
Looked like he was completely a bust last year.
Man.
Has bounced back, and he's been their best hitter.
Well, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the standings here.
Yeah.
The Guardians are 2.5 back from Detroit.
I think they got the 4th best record in the American League, don't they?
They do. But they have a minus 28 run differential.
Yeah,
despite
that's
being
telling.
15-13.
That means you're never going to win.
How much should we look at? Because Detroit's plus 39.
Right. That's a big listen, ultimately all that matters is your win-loss record, but it is generally a good indicator for what your record should be. The Guardians have been somewhat lucky to be over 500.
Facts.
And they haven't played particularly well against the better teams on their schedule. Now, the Minnesota's not particularly good. They lost the first game of that series. Toronto's so-so. Washington's not great. Philly hasn't been great, but they're a good team with a good lineup. So we'll see. But the Guardians haven't played a particularly tough schedule so far this year, and yet, they're not playing great. And I'm really concerned about those holes in the lineup. I just don't see any way to replace them right now, and that's a problem.
It's like the Guardians is like a good mom and pop restaurant, but they only got good service. When Sharon working, he'd be like, "Hey man, don't go with them. They got some younger college kids in there after 7. We're sharing that. I go on Saturday night. She hooked me up. We'll be good."
We lost to the Twins like that last night.
Yeah, they got
it's unbelievable. It was 11-1.
The good news is, as always, it's a long season.
And they in the AL Central.
They're in the AL Central.
The Twins stink this year.
By the time we get, I bet you I think they have a good chance to still make the playoffs. And if it's a big if they can get Bybee and Williams right and have Bieber back,
who's pitching
they could
tonight?
be dangerous in the playoffs. What?
Who's pitching today?
I don't remember the pitching matchup tonight. What do we got, Mike?
Dangerous.
Pitching matchup tonight,
Twins.
and we got that graphic.
Ben Lively, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
It is Tanner Bybee.
Oh,
versus
Bybee
Chris
tonight,
Paddock.
They better win. Well,
man, look at those strikeout to walk ratios for both those guys.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Look at
I
the
mean,
whips.
Bybee 20 Ks and 14 walks. That's horrible.
He ain't been striking people out like he
Bobby
used to.
hasn't been that good this year.
No, he's been terrible.
Yeah, not good.
So
And he's still the pitcher on the team I trust the most. He's got a 5.19 ERA.
What do you think, real quick? And
Yeah.
we got super chats in a sec, so
Yeah.
we got 2 minutes for this. But what's happened? Like, why is he taking a bit of a step back?
You know what?
Anything in particular?
I'm going to watch him more carefully. I'm
Shane
going to
Bieber coming
study
back.
him tonight and see if I notice anything. Because nothing has really stood out to me.
Velocity's same. The pitches look to me at least. They're
I don't know,
moving
man.
Similar.
Baseball's so weird. Sometimes you lose your confidence.
There's no
or something's bothering you a little bit. It throws you off just a little bit.
or the guys at the plate are just hitting you.
Or you're tipping pitches, or you're just getting bad luck sometimes.
Maybe they hit it.
I got to see some of his advanced numbers. I'm going to watch him carefully tonight. We got no basketball tonight. There's no draft stuff tonight. I got no Little
It
League
is
tonight.
basketball tonight.
We had our first official scrimmage last night.
Are you talking about the
Little League.
Cavs?
Well, tell us about that, then we'll do super chats. How'd the scrimmage go?
We blew the lead in the ninth and finished with a tie, 4-4.
There should never be ties.
What was the?
It's a scrimmage.
What
so
was the?
It got dark. We couldn't
how
keep
much
going.
were y'all up by?
We were up 4-1.
Oh, choke.
Oh
artist.
wow!
And we made a couple. We made a couple of.
That is
We
crazy.
dropped. My third baseman dropped the pop up that would have ended the game with a win, and
I blame that-
he was. He felt so bad.
I blame it on coaching for not
My
getting
son
the right
said
spot.
I gave the best post game speech yesterday.
I mean, what grades is Baby Bull still playing? The Cavs?
Yeah, 5th and 6th grade. He's in 6th.
Okay.
He is by far the biggest kid on the team.
I know. I just saw him.
He's a monster.
I just saw him the other day.
Yeah.
I said, "Dang, bro."
He knocked in our first run with an RBI single, and then his last at bat he struck out, but on an 0-1 pitch he had a line drive down the left field line that almost went out of the park, but he ripped it foul. And then he struck out on the next pitch. He was so pissed. He gets pissed. He's like slamming his bat.
Gets mad.
He gets mad.
I
at
wonder
himself
where he
when
gets
strikes
that
out.
from.
Yeah, right.
Shocker. All right,
He gets
super
mad.
chats here to
But
wrap up.
it was fun. Good bunch of boys.
In overtime, by the way, we are going to
wanna
tackle
see
the
it.
question that is tearing apart the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One gorilla.
Oh,
beat-
one gorilla versus 100 humans.
We're doing that for overtime.
Love that.
So let's get to super chats.
What
first.
happened in the AI version?
The AI version?
There was supposedly an AI version done to see who would win.
I'll look that up before we get to it.
I'm gonna put
super
that to
chats
bed.
today, guys.
Yeah.
Are brought to us by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build and practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the All-Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices, from small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global visions. We'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way, because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most out of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier finds the lane. Discover your success at easierwithepicor.com. All right, super chats. Only got a couple today. First one goes from Christian Story, who says, I've been a member since day one of the show. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Christian.
We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Ain't our anniversary coming up?
May 9th.
May 9th,
3-year
yeah.
anniversary.
You believe it's been 3 years?
Lane
Will I be here
H49 says, my girlfriend's dad offered me $100 on a bet that Sanders would not be in the top 3 of the Browns depth chart by week 1. Should I take the bet?
Take the bag.
Yeah,
Take
he'll
the
be
bet,
in the top
yes.
3.
Take that bet.
Yes. Devoid Archangel says, let's not forget that Ohio State had to change its entire defense because of how bad Dillon Gabriel torched us in week 5.
He did dose y'all
Is that
up.
true?
He dosed y'all all the way up. Denzel Burke.
Is that true? They had to change their defense?
Yeah, they changed their defense. They simplified it. It was a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
A lot of. It's when when coaches they go into that thing where they're trying to put you in the best defense, and certain things you got to be able to check and all that. And
then in the playoffs,
Ryan
they
Day
kicked
went
his
out.
ass.
Ryan Day went out there and said, "We're not doing that." Just
They did y'all. They did them
simplify
so
it.
bad. I'll go and refer to an old school thing. Man, y'all got y'all's mouth tore out.
First of all, we lost by 1 point. What are
Nah,
you talking
it was-
about?
I was taking it personal as if he played.
Their number one
Because
receiver.
it was 1 point.
Their number one receiver was gone after the first drive.
All right,
No,
next
he
super
was
chat.
not. Their number one receiver is Tez Johnson.
The other dude.
Trayshawn Holden got kicked out for
Yeah.
spitting in somebody's face.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not.
see?
But
Not
Tez
cool.
Johnson was their best
Yeah.
wide receiver.
Hey,
It's
so-
not even close.
Evan Stewart was their second
Go
best.
ahead, Mike.
He's a projected first-round pick. Forceman47 says the distractions will come from the fans to put Sanders in with every incomplete pass at the stadium, calling for the benching of whoever's starting ahead of him.
That's
every
a
single
fact.
game.
That's a fact.
But the fans don't distract players, do they?
What do you mean?
Like fans calling for a backup to play is a non-factor to players, isn't it?
I mean, it might be
a
not
factor.
not for the dudes only the quarterback.
The quarterback.
The rest of the team.
That's why I'm saying if it's Flacco,
That's like when I was in.
there'll be less of that with Flacco. If it's Pickett, that's going to be a huge
That's
thing.
like when I was in San Fran and C.J. Beathard got hurt against Seattle, and the crowd started chanting Jimmy's name, and they was
unless the Browns.
I was like, yo, wow.
Real quick, unless the Browns are purposely trying to lose, or Joe Flacco gets out there and he's shot physically, they should definitely have him be
Hyman
here.
says Dillon
Without a
Gabriel threw the fastest pass ever recorded in pre-draft history, beat Josh Allen and Joe Milton's records. That was not true. It was a different metric. It wasn't the combine mile per hour
that hard
speed.
to believe.
Completely different metric. At the Senior Bowl, they measure it when it leaves your hand as opposed to the full speed. The record at the combine is Joe Milton and Josh Allen at 62 miles per hour. It's a different metric than the 75 whatever velocity rating that Dillon Gabriel got at the Senior Bowl. Two different metrics. He did not break their records. Two different metrics.
All right, coming up in overtime, as Mike mentioned, could one gorilla, I don't know why this is taking over the internet today, but could one gorilla defeat 100, is it 100 men or 100 people or 100 what?
100 men.
100 men in a fight.
Is weapons involved?
No weapons.
weapons.
Hey,
We'll get to that.
They can't even do nothing with a chimp.